is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. The Prime Minister hoping for a return to normal by August. The Minsk moves to extend the state of emergency to August 13th. Another recommendation for residents to avoid eating raw conch. And residents in shanty towns tell of their plight. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strawn, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up. It's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of the new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Tuesday, May 18th, 2021. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strawn. In a moment, Don Sargent will be joining us. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, the government intends to extend the state of emergency to August 13th. That's according to Prime Minister Dr. Jimenez, who made the announcement in the House of Assembly yesterday as he tabled a resolution for the extension. Jimenez says he hopes that the state of emergency won't have to go that far, won't have to be in place for that long. He says he hopes that they would not need these extra 3 months. He said, quote, "It is our hope that the vaccinations aggressively and progressively moving throughout the world and continuing in the Bahamas with the cooperation of our populace following the mitigation protocols for the pandemic, that we would see a turn. Once that commences, we would love to remove all the emergency powers orders so that individuals can turn back to their normal life following the new protocols and world standards as quickly as possible." On Friday, Governor General Sir Cornelius Smith issued a fourth proclamation declaring a state of emergency, giving the competent authority up to another 6 months of emergency powers. In issuing the proclamation, the Governor General declared that he was satisfied a state of emergency still exists in the country because of the COVID-19 pandemic. The country has been under a state of emergency since March of 2020, days after the first COVID-19 case was confirmed in the Bahamas. The Bahamas Agricultural Health and Food Safety Authority is advising the public to not eat or purchase raw conch until the source of recent contamination, which led to recent cases of conch poisoning, has been determined. The authority also urging all conch vendors to temporarily discontinue the preparation and sale of raw conch dishes. During the 2 weeks leading up to April 26th, Princess Margaret Hospital dealt with 21 cases of conch poisoning, according to the Public Hospitals Authority. The Bahamas Agricultural Health and Food Safety Authority advising consumers again not to purchase the conch. It says that purchasing and or consuming of raw conch will be at your own risk. The Pan American Health Organization says that 627 Bahamians and residents got their second dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine. The data, last updated on Friday, is on PAHO's website. It also shows that 39,957 people received the vaccine in this country, which includes first and second shots. The Bahamas has received 87,200 doses of the vaccine, 20,000 of which were donated by the Indian government in March. The remaining doses were secured through the COVAX facility. PAHO says the Bahamas should receive another 33,600 doses through COVAX by early June. By then, the country would have received 120,800 doses, enough to fully vaccinate 60,400 people. As of May 16th, there have been 11,225 cases of COVID recorded in the country. 46 people were in the hospital, with 8 of those cases in the intensive care unit. A total of 221 people have died from COVID. Overseas, Palestinians across Israel and the occupied territories going on strike in a rare collective action against Israel's policies today, as Israeli strikes rained down on Gaza and militants fired dozens of rockets from the Hamas-ruled territory. With the war in Gaza showing no sign of abating and truce efforts apparently stalled, the general strike and expected protests could again widen the conflict after a spasm of communal violence in Israel and protests across the occupied West Bank last week. Today's airstrikes toppled a 6-story building that housed libraries and educational centers belonging to Islamic University, leaving behind a massive mound of rebar and concrete slabs. Desks, office chairs, books, and computer wires could be seen in the debris. Residents sifting through the rubble, searching for their belongings. Israel warned the building's residents ahead of time, sending them fleeing into the pre-dawn darkness, and there were no reports of casualties. Israel typically says such buildings also house militant infrastructure. Heavy fighting broke out on May 10th when Gaza's militant Hamas rulers fired long-range rockets toward Jerusalem in support of Palestinian protests against Israel's heavy-handed policing of the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound, a flashpoint site sacred to Jews and Muslims, and the threatened eviction of dozens of Palestinian families by Jewish settlers. At least 213 Palestinians have been killed in heavy airstrikes since then, including 61 children and 36 women, and with more than 1,440 people wounded, according to Gaza's health ministry, which does not break down the numbers into fighters and civilians. As the fighting drags on, medical supplies, fuel, and water are running low now in Gaza. 10 people in Israel, including a 5-year-old boy and a soldier, have been killed in the ongoing rocket attacks launched from civilian areas in Gaza towards civilian areas in Israel. Meanwhile, U.S. President Joe Biden expressing support for a ceasefire between Israel and Gaza's militant Hamas rulers in a call to Israeli President Benjamin Netanyahu. But he stopped short of demanding an immediate stop to the 8 days of Israeli airstrikes and Hamas rocket barrages. Biden's carefully worded statement in a White House readout Monday on his second known call to Netanyahu in 3 days as the attacks pounded on. This came with the administration under pressure to respond more forcefully despite its determination to wrench the U.S. foreign policy focus away from Middle East conflicts. Biden's comments on a ceasefire were open-ended and were similar to previous administration statements of support in principle for a ceasefire. In sports, University of Houston Cougars redshirt senior Brianne Bethel turning in two masterful individual personal bests, including attaining an Olympic qualifying time to highlight a busy weekend for Bahamian collegiate athletes as they wrapped up their NCAA conference championships. Bethel breaking her own meet record in qualifying for the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, clocking in a blistering personal best of 22.54 in the 200 meters at the American Athletic Conference Outdoor Track and Field Championships at the University of South Florida in Tampa. She went under the 22.80 seconds qualifying mark for the Olympics to become the eighth Bahamian, just the eighth, to qualify for the Olympics this year. After the race, the senior looked back at the clock and was happy with her time, and as she broke her own 2018 meet record of 22.74. The new record was the third fastest time in Cougars history in that event. You can read more about Bethel in today's Guardian Sports section. And a pair of goals in the final 3 minutes of regulation has spurred an unlikely comeback by Team Bahamas at the 2021 CONCACAF Beach Soccer Championships in Costa Rica yesterday, but they lost to Guatemala in penalty kicks. Darren Benby got the comeback started with a fantastic header in the 34th minute for Team Bahamas, pushing the ball past Guatemalan goalkeeper Rene Castro on an inbounds pass, bringing them to within 3-2. Just 2 minutes later, Gary Joseph found the back of the net for the Bahamas, pushing the ball to the lower right corner of the net past the outstretched arm of Castro. With just 40 seconds remaining in regulation, Joseph darted through two defenders and drilled a shot past Castro. Neither team was able to score in the final 40 seconds, or in the 3-minute extra session with Guatemala put the Bahamas away 3-1 in penalty kicks. And from the NBA, it's going to be LeBron versus Steph, and it's quite a way to start the NBA playoff mode. To get into it at least, the matchups for the NBA's new play-in tournament are set. They start tonight with the Eastern Conference, number 10 Charlotte at number 9 Indiana, and number 8 Washington and number 7 Boston. And then things shift to the Western Conference on Wednesday night, number 10 San Antonio at number 9 Memphis. And then the big matchup, number 8 Golden State at the 7th-seeded Los Angeles Lakers. LeBron James and Stephen Curry have squared off 4 times for championships back in the days of those Warriors-Cleveland matchups in the NBA Finals. They'll square off Wednesday for a slightly different prize, the number 7 seed in the West playoffs, but it'll still be a game loaded with hype and intrigue. Again, the play-in tournament begins tonight, the playoffs starting later this week. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. In your weather for today, a weakening frontal boundary near the southeast Bahamas will drift southeastwards through tonight, while a strong pressure gradient supports moderate to fresh breezes over the islands. Mariners in the central and southeastern Bahamas should be cautious as the threat remains for waterspouts, and beachgoers in the northwest and central Bahamas should exercise caution due to rip currents along north and east coast beaches. For today, for the northwest Bahamas, your forecast calls for variably cloudy, warm, and breezy conditions with a few isolated showers and possible thunderstorms through tonight. Smallcraft should exercise caution. A smallcraft advisory will come into effect this afternoon. Winds northeast to east at 15 to 20 knots, building to 15 to 25 knots by this afternoon. Seas 4 to 6 feet, increasing to 5 to 8 feet by this afternoon. For the central and southeast Bahamas, look for partly cloudy, warm, and breezy conditions with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. Smallcraft caution in effect, and an advisory will come into effect by this afternoon for the central Bahamas. Winds northeast to east at 15 to 20 knots, building to 15 to 25 knots by this afternoon in the central islands, east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots in the southeast Bahamas. Seas 4 to 6 feet, but increasing to 5 to 8 feet by this afternoon in the central islands. 4 to 6 feet in the southeast Bahamas. Temperature-wise, It is about 77 degrees right now in Nassau. In Freeport, off to a cool start, 71. Look for highs getting up to around 88 Fahrenheit, 31 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 72 Fahrenheit, 22 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have your extended outlook coming up after traffic in just a bit. You're listening to Morning Blend. When we come back, we are discussing the day's top stories right here on Guardian Radio 96.9, your home for fresh news, smart talk all day.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Preparing for a hurricane can make all the difference in safeguarding the lives of family, friends, and neighbors. By knowing what action you should take, you can reduce the effects of a hurricane disaster. Get all the facts of the potential of having insurance, impact-resistant windows, home emergency power, essential supplies, and a lot more before the storm. After the storm, where to purchase building or cleaning supplies, waste disposal, medical care, and more. The Nassau Guardian's Hurricane Guide will help you make sure everyone knows what to do in the event a hurricane approaches. Take advantage of this double insertion opportunity, plus 15 commercials on Star 106 hits. Contact us today at 302-2300. That's 302-2300, or your account executive. Will you be prepared?
Technology serves to make our lives better, so why not your business too? At Custom Computers, we've been maintaining our knowledge and relationships with top tech companies since 1987 and carry only the most trusted brands like Apple, Microsoft, HP, and more. No company has helped more businesses build reliable IT systems than Custom Computers. You name it, we've done it. Call 396-1101 to talk to any of our business experts. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. Once again, I'm Dwight Strawn. Joining me now, Don Sargent. Good morning, Don. Great to have you with us.
Morning, Dwight.
Hope all is well.
Yes, still alive.
That's always great. Great stuff. All right. We have a lot to talk about this morning. You can join the conversation as well on Twitter at MorningBlend969 or Facebook, facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Email us morningbblend@nasguard.com, or you can text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 422-4796. Standard text rates apply. And we'll give you the phone numbers to call in just a bit. Coming up this morning, more weather and traffic and business news and a lot of topics to get into this morning. We're going to try to get into all of that today, so a lot going on. But let's begin with what is in the news. And in the news, we knew it was coming. We got that word over the weekend, but the Prime Minister in the House seeking to extend the emergency order to August 13th. He's hoping we won't need that much time, but that's what they're doing. So that's basically about 3 months. And he's hoping that with more people getting vaccinated, that this will help to turn the corner on this whole pandemic. For more on what he said yesterday, take a listen to this report from our Jasmine Brown.
Now, therefore, be it resolved that this House, A, approves the continuation of proclamation of emergency made on the 14th day of May 2020 until the 13th day of August 2021.
Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis read a resolution in the House of Assembly to extend the state of emergency for another 3 months. However, he expressed hope that the Bahamas will be in a position to abandon the state of emergency before then.
This resolution, Mr. Speaker, is our hope that we would not need the 3 months.
The current state of emergency was due to expire on May 23rd. However, on Friday, Governor General Sir Cornelius Smith issued a fourth proclamation declaring a state of emergency. This gives the competent authority, Dr. Minnis, up to another 6 months of emergency powers. The Bahamas has remained under a state of emergency for 14 months. In issuing the proclamation, the Governor General declared he is satisfied a state of emergency still exists in the Bahamas because of the COVID-19 pandemic. The declaration cited a comparatively low percentage of fully vaccinated persons in the Bahamas, despite the national vaccination program, as well as a third wave of infections across New Providence and Grand Bahama. There have been more than 11,100 confirmed cases of COVID-19 and more than 200 confirmed COVID-19 deaths. Minnis said he remains optimistic.
It is our hope that with the vaccination aggressively and progressively moving throughout the world and continue to the Bahamas, that and with the cooperation with our populace and following the mitigation protocols of the pandemic, that we would see a turn. And once that commenced, we would love to remove all emergency powers orders so that individuals can return back to their normal life.
Reporting for Guardian News Network, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Okay. Let's do this now. So we hit the streets. Our news team hit the streets to find what people were thinking. We'll hear from you in a bit. But take a listen to what folks are saying in this report from our Jared Higgs.
I don't think it's necessary. I really don't. I don't.
That's the view of a hotel worker with 26 years experience, but who hasn't worked since last March.
So all we can do now is pray that they don't extend it more than 6 months.
The new proclamation was declared due to a sluggish COVID vaccine rollout and the threat of COVID-19 variants. The proclamation by the Governor General gives the Prime Minister another 6 months of emergency powers. Some tourism-based workers pointing out that the measures are a hindrance to the sector.
I'm not comfortable with it, but I don't like how it is, so.
Opposition leader Philip Davis says that the PLP supported the state of emergency at the start of the pandemic to give government a chance to fight the novel coronavirus. He says now, though more than a year later, they can't support this new extension.
That any move to extend the emergency powers has more to do with the state of Hubert Minnis's political health rather than the state of public health.
Davis accused the government of failing to build healthcare capacity during months of low cases. He argues that government could manage the pandemic through ordinary legislation and accused Minnis of not wanting to debate COVID measures.
The PLP supports enactments of measures supported by science. We cannot support the continued suspension of civil liberties by extending the state of emergency. They are just two different efforts.
Meanwhile, 22-year-old Tafari Thurston says the emergency powers are a hindrance to his social life. However, he says he's willing to sacrifice a little more.
Apparently there's been a spike in the numbers again. So I figured, we actually should be on curfew. But personally, I feel like it's causing a lot of anxiety and depression for the younger generation because we can't really go and party like we used to.
Reporting for the Guardian News Network, I'm Jared Higgs.
Okay. Can't go out and party like you used to? No, not at all. Let's get your views on it. Don, what do you think about this and some of the comments that people are making here?
About which part? The political part, or like the general part about lockdowns and curfews sucking? Everything. They're all lumped together now. They're all merged. Yeah, fused. Unfortunately, right?
Yeah.
The political part is just political theater. If the shoe was on the other foot, we'd be seeing the same. I don't know, man. I'm very disillusioned with the political process in this country, or like the discussions around it from political parties, because it's always the same thing. Everybody mowed hard in opposition, and then when they get in power, and they do the same things the last administration did. And the former administration is now in opposition. And they mowed hard all of a sudden. It's like, yeah.
Yep.
Politicians being politicians. But in terms of what people are saying about the situation, I kind of have to agree. I understand why they did it. I personally, I'm tired of it too. I would like for it to just simply go away. But unfortunately, that's not the case. I personally think a lot of the decisions made by private businesses were incredibly stupid and divisive about basically saying if you do not get this vaccine that you're going to lose your job or you're going to have to pay for your own tests. If you see the things they've been doing in the United States and around the world now, is that businesses recognize, at least the ones that still have people employed, right? They recognize that they want to get their staff vaccinated and want their staff to go get vaccinated. So they offered incentives for it, rather than trying to force the hand of people, because then you get the opposite effect when you try to force people's hand. You just feed more into conspiracies. So
isn't keeping your job an incentive? No?
I'm not what you're doing in that sense, though, Dwight, is you're basically saying what people are then going to infer from that is, oh, so this conspiracy about this thing is real. Right? It's going to lead to more fear. Like we don't have any shortage of conspiracies and fear mongering in this country. I guess that's why I thought it was really poor. Like, if anything, you should incentivize, not try to force the hand. That's one of the things that we tend to do very wrong in this country, is we try to force hands through laws and fines and penalties and all those things, rather than trying to encourage and incentivize certain behaviors. But that's another conversation.
Right.
So I unfortunately, things like that, and I don't know. I have not been paying attention to the government messaging and PR when it comes to the vaccine, encouraging persons to go and get vaccinated. But I know there have been some turnout, but it's not been exactly where they wanted it to be.
And that's also not surprising, based on what we've been hearing for an entire year about, as you mentioned, conspiracies. Not surprising that we would have this level of turnout for that.
Well, yeah, but don't worry though. Once Dwight gets his shot, like, everybody's gonna have confidence.
Yeah, I believe you.
Have you scheduled yours yet, Dwight?
Very soon. I'm thinking next week. We'll make.
I'm actually getting my second shot next week.
Yeah. Okay. So. Look at that. Maybe we'll go together. I'm gonna make it a spectacle because everyone keeps asking. So maybe I'll record it, post it, and I was gonna do it on the weekend so I could have, in case I have a dawn reaction, I could recuperate. But
yeah, you should.
I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna do it on a weekday and come to work and power through the show.
I'll tell you,
but I'm sure I'll be fine.
Just eat before you take it. Take Panadol like 15 minutes after you take it, and just pray. It's going to be great.
Okay, can't wait. Yeah. Now I do want to. We have these debates every time because you heard Brave David say that in the report, and a lot of people keep saying this. Ordinary legislation. But if you notice, the opposition cannot give you any examples of what they're talking about. And then we heard a few months back that the Attorney General's office was working on something like that, but where is it, right? Because I think it's going to be very challenging, as I keep saying. There will be, I don't know how you can do this. Ordinary legislation. If you remove the emergency, how will this be constitutional? And what are you talking about exactly? You can't possibly be in the curfew. I don't know how you can tell people where to stand if there's no emergency. How will you limit
your country will
what's happening there? How will you limit the gatherings? Why would you do this? If this is my home, if we don't have an emergency, And you're expecting me in the honor system to say, well, I know that people are still sick, so as a good citizen, I'm going to my big birthday party, I'll only have 10 people as opposed to 100. That's what we're hoping for. I don't know if it's going to work. I think it's going to be very challenging. And
government corruption, because the honor system works, and no body in government has ever stolen.
Oh, you're being sarcastic.
We have an honor system.
Right. Yeah.
Honors.
But yeah.
Yeah, you expect people who you give contracts to build government buildings to just have insurance. And then when they don't have insurance, it's okay, because the honor system.
So that's what we want to do today. I want to hear from you how you see ordinary legislation working. What type of laws would you want to see, and what would be the difference? I know Pam had some great points yesterday that what's allowed and what's not allowed needs to be debated as opposed to just declared, right? And that there's no reason why that can't happen. And have the competent authority justify why this is the rule, why this can't happen on a Sunday, but it's fine on a Saturday. What happens on Sunday? I
agree.
Right?
Yeah, I agree.
Explain yourself and do that in the House. There's no reason why that can't happen. But explain to us today how you see ordinary legislation being any different.
Or they can also come on the debate stage and participate in the debates at the University of the Bahamas. That'd be great.
Good. Now you're just being difficult. Why are you go there? But okay. So I want to hear that today. What type of legislation would make you feel comfortable and not make you feel like you are in a police state when there is no declared emergency? What would be the justification for changing your behavior if we remove it? And I'm not saying we shouldn't remove it, but if we do, what type of legislation? Let's hear you on that one today. Yeah, you can text us, you can tweet us, you can Facebook us, or call in 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Let's go to the phone lines. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning.
Hi.
Firstly, yesterday you said something about the quarantine act, that it's only for sick people, but that is not the case. The quarantine act is basically to stop the spread of any infectious or contagious disease. It's not just about sick persons.
Mm-hmm.
It's about trying to stop the spread of the disease. And there's a section in the Quarantine Act, Section 7, that gives the person who's the Minister of Health some authorities to do certain orders. Now, I agree with you, what you said, that we need to, especially from the government side and the Parliament side, need to decide what we want to do with these statute laws, what we want to accomplish with it. Do we want to accomplish trying to mitigate the spread of the disease, or we want to stop people's civil liberties? Because if you look at it, to be honest, people being gathering in oven parties, thing all through this pandemic, big parties and stuff. And fortunately, we ain't had the big, massive spread. Like, we had some spread, but it was an overwhelming spread of this disease. People was piling up in the food stores, especially early on.
Yes.
And the spread wasn't that spectacular. But the problem I see is that from the government perspective, it's their job to determine what legislation they're going to allow to be tabled and debated in the House of Assembly. So even if the opposition come up with something, if the government don't want that to be tabled, it could be tabled in the House, but if the government don't want it to be debated, they could just ignore it and send it to committee. Secondly,
but it'll be good to know if we.
Right, that's
it'll be
what
good
I'm saying.
to
That's
see.
why
Yeah.
Right, that's why we need our members. How much members of Parliament do you think could explain what Article 29 of the Constitution means?
Huh.
How much of them do you think off their own, if you go up to them and interview them and say, why are you voting to extend this state of emergency, and explain to your constituency and the wider Bahamian public what Article 29 means? Not you had Attorney General say, but have you read it yourself? Have you studied it? Have you read the Quarantine Act? Have you read the Health Services Act? To say, to give you some understanding of the legislation we already have in place right now. Because the first thing the government used, the first thing the government used the Quarantine Act in the beginning of this pandemic. They used it. They used it. because they first they had to declare COVID-19 an infectious and contagious disease. And the Minister of Health did that in January last year. Then they used it again when they declared China an infected place. That's the Quarantine Act gives the minister the authority to do that. Then they did it again in March when they declared all the European Union countries, Ireland and England, an infected place. So they couldn't use the Quarantine Act because they used it in the beginning. They used provisions in the Quarantine Act in the beginning, in the early stages. But there's a
but do
section
you
in the Quarantine
think that...
Act. There's a section in the Quarantine Act that even speaks to emergency. Section 7, that gives the Minister of Health certain powers. Now, we haven't had no discussion on what those powers are. And nobody has... I'm so disappointed in the legal fraternity in our country, from those who sit in Parliament, those who in Cabinet, those who retired from the bench and the courts. Only, I think, one couple lawyers wrote stuff about this early on. And the most aggressive one was James Jones-Sawyer.
Yeah. I mean, from what I've read, do you see in the Quarantine Act something that could get the behavior of people who are not sick to change, as in to limit what they can and cannot do?
But see, it just like, unfortunately, you can't get everybody to comply because, you know, we get all kind of laws right now for what is for our health and safety, from speeding to wearing seatbelts, and everybody don't comply with them. Unfortunately, we need enforcement. Okay, in my area where I live, certain things go on, and the COVID people don't come in my area. They don't come in my area. Okay, even the regular police don't come in my area, and I don't live too far from a police station. They don't come in my area.
Wow.
You see? So what first we need to find out is what the government want to accomplish with the legislation. Do they want the one person to still have all this power over everybody else? If that's what you want, when he wakes up one morning, like how we did last August, and say immediately everything shut down, that's what we need, sensible discussion, and we need more of the legal fraternity to come and educate our people on some of these legislation that we have in place. Just give their legal opinion, because only the court really can decide who right or who wrong.
Yeah.
Okay? And I hope somebody, but I know they get a couple cases in court from last year with this emergency powers orders and the competent authority. But our courts is taking so long, and next pandemic might break out before we even get the ruling in the court to know if the government was doing the right thing.
God forbid, God forbid. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I still think it only applies to mainly sick people, but we need to do a little dive into it. And yeah, that's a good idea. I think I will have some lawyers in. I don't think it's going to make much of a difference here. But that's me, a non-lawyer, speaking. Okay, let's take this call here. You are on the air.
Good morning, Blend.
Hi, good morning.
Morning, Blend. Would it be an overstretch to suggest that everyone has been exposed to the coronavirus, saying that it's such a microscopic agent?
It's possible.
Okay. Well, let's go with that possibility then. If that then is possible, then the vaccine gives you a little bit of it so that you can develop antibodies to fight against it. Well, if you've been exposed possibly to it, wouldn't it then be not a far stretch to assume that you may have been exposed and have developed antibodies already?
I'm sure for some people that has happened.
Okay, good. Well, that being the case, then it really looks like, because not very many people are dying, it appears to be that when you contract it from someone who is fully blown COVID in the hospital, the virus seems to be a little bit more aggressive. So if we've all been exposed to it, why not just let it, just drop this? I mean, why all this round and round? Because, I mean, if I have antibodies already, perhaps I'm okay.
Perhaps.
Is that so far stretch?
Yes. I mean, we've had all these discussions a year ago about this. I mean, some people are not going to respond well, and some people are going to get very, very sick, and it's going to end terribly for them, right? And so you're prepared to take those chances. Like, well, you just didn't make it. You you weren't the fittest, and hey, so is that what we want to do with people's lives? Just expose everybody, and who can make it? Well, your genes were
No. You protect yourself because, I mean, through the mask, I can smell cologne. And I'm pretty sure the cologne odor is not as microscopic as the coronavirus. I can smell odors through that mask. So, wear the mask, but I'm just saying, don't get too all changing your life and worrying. Live life as normal and wear the mask, protect yourself, and follow your own personal procedures. Is that another far-fetch?
People are doing it.
Good.
People are doing it. Okay.
Have a nice day.
All right. Well, the number of deaths is going up. It's been going up over the past few weeks, right? And every day we're averaging, between 25 and 50 new cases. So if you go by your theory, we would that wouldn't be happening.
Remember when we opened up last year, Dwight?
Mm-hmm.
And half of people calling into your show were saying the government need to open up. Half are saying, no, that's a dumb idea because of what's happening in Florida. Then we opened up and then the numbers exploded. The deaths went up.
Yep.
And it just was like big numbers every day. Then we went into these crazy lockdown situations. And people were saying the government made a horrible decision by opening up. But look at these numbers now. They don't care what this is. Poor leadership. We used to waste country, with COVID-19 in the world, and blah, blah, blah. Even the opposition going in on it, right? Again, I don't want to say that it's all theater, but it feels like we're watching reruns over and over again when these types of things happen. So, I don't know. I feel like I've heard all this already. That's all I was going to say.
Yeah, definitely. That felt like a conversation from May 2020 just now. Let's take another call. Good morning, call. You're on the air.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing well.
Okay, I don't know if to say it was a rerun, but it's, I think it's a step in the wrong direction because if the numbers are going up and we're removing curfews and opening up more islands, I don't understand. But then you're extending the state of emergency. So you're saying a risk exists, but then you're opening up?
Well, it looks like we're heading to a place where we say the risk is only in New Providence. That's where it's going.
Well, the risk is New Providence and Grand Bahama.
Yeah, Grand Bahama still. Right, still Grand Bahama, but their curfew is 11 o'clock. So I guess it's getting better there.
And with that being said, trying to understand the rationale.
Yeah, but a lot of people are trying.
Because when you look at it,
turn down your radio for us. We can hear that in the background. Yeah. Bet it's
Grand Bahama, New Providence, the numbers are going up, right? Vaccination is here, but it really takes about 2 months minimum for someone to be fully vaccinated.
Right.
So we have to wait that period for full vaccination. But at the same time, cases are increasing.
So what are you thinking? He shouldn't have relaxed what he relaxed, and that we should keep the emergency for a little while longer while we wait for people to be fully protected. Is that what I hear you saying?
That sounds somewhat better, or we need to do something to encourage, because vaccinations too are stagnant.
Yeah.
So, it's like a case 22. We are really in a rare situation because vaccinations does not seem to be our cure, because the numbers are stagnant, but the cases are increasing.
Yeah. It's a very tricky situation.
And it takes 2 months to become fully vaccinated to really take advantage of any plus of being a fully vaccinated person to move freely, socialize freely, and so XYZ. And then we don't have enough persons to hold or make sure that these conditions are being adhered to, in terms of we don't have enough persons to screen you to say you are a vaccinated person.
Yep.
You understand? Because right now, there are places where people socialize in excess of, 20 persons. We don't know, and no enforcement is taking place right there. Places right down from police stations and so forth. UXIC. So how will you know that this person is being fully vaccinated to be roaming freely or socializing freely, eating outdoors? We don't have enough enforcement to see that happen.
Very true. Very true.
And vaccination, like I say, minimum 2 months. Can we spare what the results of minimum 2 months takes place? Because April figures alone, they're going up daily.
It's scary. Thank you so much. Appreciate your contribution. I hope people are listening. Let's take some more calls and we'll get to your text messages. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning. How are you all?
Doing well.
Yes, to a caller that he talks a lot about the Quarantine Act, right? But the emergency order addresses more issues than quarantine. The emergency act addresses a mirage of issues, right? And to this caller talking about the government and this legislation to deal with COVID, right? What about the opposition's legislation? Or what about their proposed legislation?
Yeah, that's what we were saying.
Being could lay a legislation on the table of Parliament and hash it out in the media and have media coverage on it, the details of it. Why can't the opposition do the same thing? You see, it's time they go to Parliament and legislate, and not just all they do is debate. You see, what about legislation? They need to go and legislate themselves. Legislate in Parliament as well as in the media. Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot. We would like to see what they're talking about, right? Propose something. Let's see. Just don't say ordinary legislation. Like what? What do you mean? What would you want? That's what I want to hear this morning. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Dwight.
Hi.
Good morning, your co-host, Alan Johnson. Just let me say that for 2 months before the CDC in the U.S. came up with the concept using data analysis, I had informed the Bahamas that if 80% of Bahamians wore a proper mask properly for 4 weeks, we could mitigate, almost eliminate COVID in the Bahamas. And that's, again, it's 80%. So the government could have done that very easily by buying masks for 5 cents each, literally costing a few dollars to give everybody a year's supply of masks and insist for them to be properly worn. Now, when you come to what should we do, the problem is that we have no science and we have no data to support any of the decisions that has been made or is about to be made. Let me first go to the Quarantine Act before we come to why this won't work. The Quarantine Act only gives 2 powers, isolation and quarantine.
Right.
The isolation basically gives them the authority to separate sick people with a contagious disease from people who are not sick.
Yep.
The quarantine separates and restricts the movement of people who basically have been verifiably exposed to a contagious disease to see if they become sick. Well, we can't do this unless we have testing of all Bahamians to know who are all the sick people so we could know who all come in contact with them. The problem with that also comes is that once you begin to use the Quarantine Act, those citizens, those visitors who entered the Bahamas who, in spite of having a vaccine, would be considered carriers, would be subject to isolation, to being locked away for 14 days, even if they have it, because they are still carriers capable of infecting other people.
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, this comes to the data for tracking contact tracing. We have no data on individuals who may have contracted COVID and asymptomatic, and may have given it to other people who are also asymptomatic. Because again, if you use the simple rule of 5 and you go 5 deep, you would have reached 15,000 people. Put that in each of the constituencies on New Providence, 15,000 times 23, 24. You could very easily see how the entire island could have already been exposed to these things. So we could even make an argument that the people who are now testing positive is their second exposure because we have no proof of the first exposure. so until we have any act of this quarantine act or any act that Parliament bring, has to come with a strategy, a system for data collection, data verification. But we need to verify those who may have the antibodies. We have done no test to verify how long the antibodies would last in those individuals. We don't even have evidence to support the position that the vaccine will last as much as the antibodies, or the antibodies will last longer, because, again, we keep using the word vaccines when these are emergency use clients. And so, because there's so much data that's not available, the mere thing that we could do, though, is bring a real medical discussion into the public domain and bring some data scientists, analysts, or whatever, bring the contract tracing that allows us to to track almost every single person in the Bahamas. Yeah. And you already know we are a data of voice society. We want to make decisions based on what we feel like, what we think, what we were told, what we pray for, what we wish for, and what we hope for. We never really want to go by any information as to what we know.
Right.
And so this quagmire that we are in is that we have an urgent need to open the economy, because we are already at almost $4 billion just to cover a $2.9 billion economy, and the government is moving to July 1st in the new year with a desperation of revenue to come into the country. And so we're just MSU, making stuff up to simply open the economy, a quarantine that maybe just set aside just long enough for the Prime Minister to be able to call another snap election by the deadline of August 23rd. And it just does not make sense.
Wow. Thanks a lot, Cialan. Wow. Okay. One more call, and we're going to take a break. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
The snap election since, the 1960s? Has that ever happened since the 1960s?
Well, no, but I mean, they get to call it whenever they're ready, so, yeah.
But that's how it's always been.
Yeah.
Why do we keep talking about snap election? It hasn't happened. It's every election cycle, I keep saying this. We always talk about snap elections. They don't happen.
Yeah, let's take this call. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. How are you this morning?
Doing well.
Yes. I kind of concur with Mr. Davis. Let me tell you why I say that. We have a quarantine act in place, okay? I heard what Cialan said just now, but Mr. Davis said to the Prime Minister, let's go and legislate the quarantine act. We could go in Parliament together and make laws. Prime example, like it's automatic that we all Bahamians be tested at least once every 10 days, okay? Which the PCR testing is quite cheap right now, that the government could supply it, because they can't supply enough vaccine to vaccinate everybody at this time.
So, okay, let's break down every part of what you say. So, remove the emergency order, and then require...
No. We have 14 days with the emergency orders now. Actually, we have 13 more days left. We have 13 days to go in Parliament and go and legislate that through the Quarantine Act, right, that we make it mandatory that all Bahamians be tested every 10 days.
Okay. Let's stop. Why would I subject myself to that?
Excuse me?
Why would I subject myself to that?
Because you're saying that we have a spread, okay? And this is the way that you can get data, okay? It's been driven by data, because you're trying to collect data in order to have a handle on knowing actually which area the virus is actually at the time. You remember when the emergency order first started? And that's what they were doing. They were speaking about locking down certain areas.
Okay. So where would that happen? Where would the testing happen? I have to go to the testing
We have many facilities throughout the Bahamas that we can test persons on. Yeah. Okay, many facilities.
So,
when the government
this would all be an incentive.
They find auditoriums, they find schools, they find a lot of places, because you remember now, the summer months are coming right now. Okay, so school wouldn't be over, all right? Because even if they go in Parliament and legislate today, that act wouldn't come in place until another week or two.
And if I don't show up for the testing, what happens?
Pardon me?
If I don't go for the testing, what will
happen?
Well,
if you don't go for the testing, the same thing that happens right now if you go away and you're supposed to report on the app that they have when you return for 14 days, the same thing will happen to you. You will get a fine.
Oh,
what's wrong with that?
Oh, so this is an incentive to vaccine then? This is what you're saying?
No, this is not an incentive to vaccine. This is an incentive to get data, the state that say, for instance, there are 70,000 persons in New Providence that now are being tested, and out of 70,000 persons that are being tested, 30,000 persons are deemed to either have the virus or have a symptom of the virus.
So
okay?
your plan is to put everyone in jail because after who's going to do this?
Jail.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to pay the fine after 2 times of missing my test because I was too busy.
So, with all due respect,
that's not
I
reasonable.
understand where you're going with this, right? But I'm saying to you, sir, listen to me. What we're doing right now, how many times you heard in Parliament that the emergency orders has been extended illegally?
All right, so you know what? Just get the vaccine. Just get the vaccine because no one's going to do that.
Your vaccine as
I'm
yet?
going soon.
I already got my first dose.
Very good. So that would be easier to encourage.
2 months to get the second dose.
All right, but that would be easier to encourage that than to say let's test every 10 days.
With all due respect,
why would we do
the
that?
opposition should have some say in Parliament. It shouldn't just be that the government, Let's be real.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I don't know where you came from with that one.
But I'm saying to you, the opposition is giving the government ideas what they can do. The government is not listening to nobody, sir.
They gave that one?
Not the government, the Prime Minister himself, okay?
Okay, what's another idea? The testing one, that's a little tricky. But is there another one?
The testing is not tricky, sir. The testing is not tricky. All right, let me ask you a question, Dwight.
Mm-hmm.
We are opening up right now. We are saying now that persons can go in restaurants, right, and eat if they are fully vaccinated.
Yes.
All right. How many persons in New Providence you think are fully vaccinated at this time?
They gave
do they have the data to prove how many persons are actually fully vaccinated?
As of Friday, according to PAHO's website, was 627 people.
So you're telling me only the rich and the rich are fully vaccinated at this time then?
I have no idea. Why would you think that?
Dwight, let's be realistic. I've been to Loyola Hall, and the persons that were pulling up there at the first instant that weren't on that list was if you have been there, if you live in that area in your past, all you see is the most expensive vehicles are parked at Loyola Hall at that time, okay?
So,
before I went to get my vaccine, before it was opened up to the public, all right?
What does that mean?
What do you mean? What does that mean? Privileges were getting free.
Who's stopping people from going? This is a free vaccine. Go.
No, it wasn't open up to the public at the time. If you remember now, they had certain persons that they allowed to come. Hotel workers, government workers.
Okay.
They were the persons that were allowed to come at that particular time.
Almost everybody can go now. So
yes, almost everybody could do, but they don't have sufficient vaccine for everybody.
No, if you want a vaccine, you could get the vaccine.
So if there's only 30,000+ doses,
don't worry about
you
that.
have to take 2 doses
Go get
for
your
the
vaccine
to be vaccinated. To be fully inoculated. How is it possible?
So is that stopping people from getting the vaccine?
No, sir. No, I'm not saying that it's stopping people, but you're missing the point.
Mm-hmm.
My whole point and my whole idea is to you is that we have a quarantine act. Mr. Davis been saying that now from about after the first lockdown we had. Go in Parliament and legislate the quarantine act. They all can come to some agreement in the quarantine act that every citizen of the Bahamas need to be tested. You realize now most of the islands are now open up. They have no lockdown.
Yeah, I do.
All right, but listen to me. What about the persons coming from the island to New Providence and going back to the island? Catching the virus in New Providence and going back to the island. What's supposed to happen then? You ever thought about that?
There's a vaccine now.
There's a vaccine now, but does the vaccine stop the virus from mutilating?
It prevents it from
Let me
getting
ask
too
you one more
serious.
question before we leave.
Mm-hmm.
So is Dave bound for the show forever? That's your buddy.
We don't want to hear his voice. That's all I have
I'm
to say.
asking you if he's bound for the show forever. That's all I'm asking.
We'll see. If he changes his ways, maybe if he gets a vaccine or a lobotomy, possibly.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot. I need you all to listen.
On that, right? Because see, Alan said it too. I don't know if anybody's tried to get a free test. That was exceptionally difficult, and the process was frustrated every step of the way when I attempted to, when I was exposed, and I ended up not basically being able to get a test for free. Several people I knew went through the same thing, who they had to pay for their own tests, and they realized that they had tested positive for coronavirus. I don't see, if we were to test for antibodies, that situation changing. The government's not going to pay for that. If they say they're going to pay for it, what happens on the ground does not reflect what anybody's saying on this radio station right now. I'm just saying, that's very fanciful to believe that's going to work. We have literally a year and a half proof that ain't working, and it ain't going to work. I agree we are very data scarce, but like, and another thing too, on the point about the opposition giving suggestions. The opposition always gives suggestions, regardless of who's in power, right? This is why I talk about this thing. I hear the same story over and over again. It's like a rerun. We always hear that. It happened under the last Christie administration. It happened under the Ingwer administration when the opposition gave suggestions and then said the same thing. The government's ignoring what we have to say about this situation, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, it's part of being a...
I also don't think they suggested that everybody go and get tested every 10 days, though, because that is wilder than most of the restrictions we're under right now. But okay, let's take a break. We'll be back with more. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
This is AP News. I'm Rita Foley. We're getting there. More states are dumping the mask and social distancing requirements for those who are fully vaccinated. Tomorrow, New York. The AP's Ed Donahue takes us there.
Governor Andrew Cuomo says the state will follow the new CDC guidelines.
If you are vaccinated, you are safe. No masks, no social distancing.
New York has fully vaccinated about 43% of its 20 million residents. It took a while to get to this point.
Let's get back to life. This shutdown has caused all sorts of damage.
I'm Ed Donahue.
California, though, isn't ready to dump the masks, at least not right now. Here's our Jennifer King.
California says it won't lift its mask requirement until June 15th. Residents and visitors who are fully vaccinated do not need to wear masks outdoors unless they're attending a crowded gathering, but must still wear masks indoors unless they're meeting with other vaccinated people. The state health director says that's to give the public and businesses time to prepare and ensure that coronavirus case rates stay low.
Colorado Congressman Jason Crow is a former Army Ranger who served 3 tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. Now, he says some of his military training is kicking in again since he, like many other members of Congress, are getting death threats and fear for their safety. After the insurrection at the U.S. Capitol building on January 6th, some lawmakers say they're boosting their security now. An administration official is telling us why President Biden is expressing support for a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas militants, but will not demand a ceasefire. He's determined to support Israel's right to defend itself from Hamas, says the official. Israeli airstrikes rained down on Gaza this morning, and Hamas militants fired dozens of rockets. The Dow lost 54 points yesterday. This is AP News. Today, a North Carolina district attorney will reveal the findings of an investigation into the police-involved shooting death of a black man, Andrew Brown, Jr. AP correspondent Julie Walker with the latest on this.
Andrew Womble scheduled a news conference today to talk about what the State Bureau of Investigation found. The DA has resisted calls from the state's Democratic governor and Brown's family to let an independent prosecutor take over. Deputies attempting to serve drug-related search and arrest warrants shot and killed Brown in his car outside his Elizabeth City home last month. An independent autopsy by the family found 5 bullet wounds, including one in the back of the head. Womble has said Brown struck deputies with his car. Lawyers for the family who watched body cam video say it shows Brown was unarmed and didn't drive towards deputies or pose a threat. I'm Julie Walker.
And I'm Rita Foley, AP News.
And at 7:40, time for your first check of traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank. At this hour, we're seeing heavy traffic on Sir Miles Butler Highway from north of Fire Trail up to Tonic-Williams-Darling Highway. And the traffic is also busy heading west of the roundabout with Sir Miles Butler Highway on Tonic-Williams-Darling Highway. At this hour, it's a little unusual this hour, but that's what we're seeing right now. Gladstone Road busy, as usual, northbound lanes heading towards JFK Drive. And further south on Carmichael at the junction with Sir Miles Butler Highway, you're going to be seeing traffic there in the southbound lanes and in that general area near Faith Avenue. Elsewhere, building traffic eastbound on Carmichael heading towards Blue Hill Road, and heavy traffic northbound on Blue Hill Road just north of Soldier Road heading towards Independence Drive. Independence Drive westbound also busy heading towards that roundabout with Blue Hill Road. We've got pockets along Robinson Road and Prince Charles Drive at major intersections, building traffic on Fox Hill Road northbound heading towards Prince Charles Drive. Those are your hotspots for now. We'll have another real-time report for you just after the 8 o'clock news. That's your Morning Blend Traffic Alert, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank, banking reimagined. And 7:42, time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Rev Cable Bahamas. We've got a weakening frontal boundary near the southeast Bahamas that will drift southeastwards through tonight, while a strong pressure gradient will support moderate to fresh breezes over the islands. For today, mariners in the central and southeast Bahamas should be cautious, as the threat remains for waterspouts. And beachgoers in the northwest and central Bahamas should exercise caution due to the risk of rip currents along north and east coast beaches. Your forecast for today for the northwest Bahamas: variably cloudy, warm, and breezy with a few isolated showers and possible thunderstorms through tonight. Small craft should exercise caution, and a small craft advisory will come into effect by this afternoon. For the central and southeast Bahamas, partly cloudy, warm, and breezy with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. Small craft caution in effect, and an advisory will come into effect by this afternoon for the central Bahamas. High temperatures today getting up to 85 Fahrenheit, 31 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 72 Fahrenheit, 22 Celsius. In your extended outlook, a strong high-pressure gradient will continue to generate moderate to strong breezes across the islands, while low to mid-level troughing will support unsettled weather over the central and southeast Bahamas. So, for tomorrow, Wednesday, look for variably cloudy to cloudy and windy conditions with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms mainly in the central and southeast Bahamas. Thursday, variably cloudy to cloudy and very windy again with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms, again, mainly in the central and southeast Bahamas. That's your Morning Blend weather check, brought to you by Rev. Basketball fans, you've got to sign up or upgrade to Rev Trio and enjoy NBA League Pass absolutely free. The playoffs are about to start. Call 601-8992 or email trio@cablebahamas.com to sign up. Rev, you and us together.
Roaming just got easier. Say hello to more with our new Liberty Prime plan. With more minutes, more texts, and more data to do the things you love right here at home and even when you travel. With the all-new Liberty Prime, Liberty Premium, and Liberty Elite, you've got one less worry. Roam again. Alive. Believe in best. Believe in best.
Go cashless with CIBC First Caribbean. Did you use the ABM to check your account balance or make a deposit? Don't forget to take your card and your transaction record once your transaction is complete. After reviewing your transaction record, ensure you discard it safely. Visit CIBCFCIB.com for more information. Go cashless with CIBC First Caribbean.
Basketball is back, baby, and so is NBA League Pass. Only with Rev Trio. Sign up for Rev Trio today and enjoy NBA League Pass absolutely free, along with incredible prizes including a brand new 50-inch smart TV NBA gear, and more. With tons of prizes and gear, signing up for Trio is the best on and off-court move this year. Just call 601-8992 or visit www.rev.bs/promotions/Trio. Sign up for Rev Trio today and enjoy NBA League Pass absolutely free.
Meet Jackie. Jackie's a hard worker with a steady income, but she has a personal loan and multiple credit cards to pay off. To keep her account current, Jackie opted for a loan from Fidelity Bank to consolidate her debt into one monthly payment and earn interest on a built-in savings account. Be like Jackie. Call 356-7764 to book a complimentary financial coaching session. Fidelity also offers virtual assistance. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Stay a step ahead of technology with certainty and support from Custom Computers. Our know-how team is here to help you zero in on your next big tech purchase, finding solutions that take your productivity to the next level using only the best and most reliable brands. With 4 stores all across Nassau on East Bay, West Bay, Old Fort Bay, and Palmdale, there's no stopping you from stepping up your tech. Reach out to us at 396-1100. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
BTC is elevating the Bahamas with our super-fast fiber internet experience. More people in more places can enjoy the best home connection starting with 100 megabit speeds. With over $6.5 million invested, our network grows stronger each day, delivering the best home internet for all your needs. Call us at 242-225-5282. Visit btcbahamas.com or any retail store to upgrade to the super-fast fiber internet experience on the Bahamas' best fiber network.
Digital banking. Online, RBC. RBC Banking. Online, pay your bills anytime.
RBC Digital Banking is so easy. Granny and Granddad can do it. Sign up for online banking or download the RBC Caribbean app.
With RBC, it's safe and easy. Send your money hassle-free. RBC.
Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/bank at home. RBC Royal Bank. Banking reimagined.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
I don't go in water. I just go to boat fight with somebody's daughter. I like to you should know I'm a Bahamian from the Bahamas. It's the place you vacation. Slam domino every occasion. If I did it over, I wouldn't change it. 'Cause this is what I love.
We're back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strawn along with Don Sargent on this Tuesday morning. So what we're doing, we're asking everybody to come up with legislation, if you think you can, legislation that could work outside of a declared emergency that could control COVID, the issues, and bring the numbers down and get a handle on the situation. If you think of legislation that could be passed that wouldn't violate our constitutional rights, we want to hear. So far, we've heard mandatory testing for everybody every 10 days. You'd be required to go and get tested every 10 days. I think that one would be a very serious challenge there. I don't think that's one's going to, I don't know. That's just me. Tell me how you think. Don, would you do it? You'd go every 10 days to get tested?
As opposed to getting the vaccine?
Well, I don't know if that's going to require. Is it only going to be the non-vaccinated people who are going to be required to be tested? That seems quite discriminatory to me. But no, or is it everybody?
If I had to get tested every 10, who's paying for the test?
Well, apparently, under this scenario, the government would do it.
I mean, I'm saying I think it's well intentioned, the idea behind it, but it's just the government ain't into paying for that. And based on how they treated the tests last year, we had those big spikes. You on your own. So, no, I'm not paying for that.
No. The government would pay for it. But you just have to show up every 10 days.
I don't know. I'm very skeptical when the government said they can do something. So I want to say no. No, I don't think I will. No.
Mm-hmm.
And if I have to get fined, well, then we just got to go to court.
As I say, we'll all be in jail. We'll all be in jail. We'll be the new Australia, the prison state.
Let's have a class action lawsuit.
That one's going to be a challenge. Okay, but let's hear some else. I want to hear what other laws you think could possibly, ordinary legislation, as we keep hearing, could pass to control. Let me know. I don't know. I'm being...
But that's the thing I don't understand, though, Dwight. Wasn't an argument... I don't know what happened since. Wasn't an argument before that the emergency orders themselves were unconstitutional. So if that... I don't know if that is really the case. I'm not a lawyer. I don't speak legalese. But if it is the case, or been argued that it is the case, how would bring up any other laws be any different or any less?
That is
or
such
more?
a great question, Don. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that? So tell me, how would ordinary legislation not do the same thing? I would love to know. Anyway, I need people to just don't repeat what you hear people say. Right? Let's think about it. Let's go through it now. Let's take this call here. Is this, yeah? Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Are you there?
Good morning, Dwight. How are you?
Doing well. Good morning.
Awesome. And good morning to the Bahamas on your guest. Dwight, I honestly don't believe this is about legislation under this administration. I don't believe that they're trying to change anything other than this state of emergency, because the Prime Minister just seems to be stuck on COVID. Because from COVID, no one has had the common cold, no one has had sugar, no one has had high blood, no one has had any issues of ailment,
Now, you know that's not true. Now, you know that's not true.
Well, Dwight, everything has been COVID.
Yeah,
and,
because everything seems so unimportant now. It's right, but I do get where you're going. I do get your point.
Okay, where I'm really going is we were under more of a state of emergency before COVID, because people were getting sick with all kind of things and everything, and now this COVID came about, and now everything is about COVID. It seems to me like the Prime Minister has jumped from 2.0 to 5.0 lazy, and all he wants to do is have a state of emergency, lock the people down, or find some kind of a way to keep them under, house arrest and stuff. But, if this is what's working for him, if this is how, governing a country works for him, then, I tip my hat to him, man. But this isn't going to get it.
So what do you think should happen? What do you think should be happening?
Well, I think the state of emergency needs to end.
Mm-hmm.
I think they should go in the House and, kind of debate some form of thing where you need to wear your mask, where you need to continue to do. And I don't even think they need to do that, because Bahamians have adopted already. They understand.
Because it's the law and you get fined if you don't do it.
Say again?
I say we're doing it now only because it's the law and we get fined if we don't.
Yeah, but the point is we're doing it. That's the point. The point is we're doing it so
because of those laws.
And also because there is an emergency, right? And because there is a declared state of emergency, and because we do hear about numbers increasing. But if you remove the state of emergency, why would I be wearing a mask? Because I should.
Yeah, because you should, because you don't want to get sick. You don't want to take that stuff home to your family and stuff like that. So, I think the Bahamians are very understanding people, and we try to adopt, we adopt for the better. In spite of what people say, Bahamians adapt for the better. So I just don't think it would be a problem. I think we're making more of a deal out of this thing than it really is. We need to go back to normal.
Well, okay. All right. But normal doesn't mean wearing a mask. And,
you're right.
Right. So there'd be, I don't know how you'd make me wear a mask. If I say, I could come up with all kinds of excuses. I have sinus issues. I have allergies to the mask. I don't know. But, there'd be an issue. There'd be a real challenge with that.
I understand.
So
what do you do?
Well, I guess you do what you've been doing. Whatever you've been doing, I guess you do that.
Yeah.
Make it work.
Okay. All right. Thanks a lot. Let's get to your messages here. Quite a few to get through.
I think something to pull out of there, Dwight, is that all the options suck.
Yeah.
I think people are being good intentioned who are calling in and well intentioned in what they're saying. But it's really still a situation of I don't know if there really are any good options at all. Personally, I would be delighted if they got rid of the emergency orders and I could get home after 10 o'clock without having to worry about was it a $5,000 fine or something like that. That'd be great. But unfortunately,
Oh, boy. Here is a text. Everything they are doing goes to tourism and has zero to do with what any health official says. If tourism numbers are still low in May 2022, we will still be in a state of emergency. Okay. On that day, the Governor General will release a statement saying tourism numbers are still low. We must extend the state of emergency because by then poor COVID will no longer be a viable excuse and they will be forced to shame the devil. I'm not understanding that part, though. The tourism numbers will be low, so you have to extend the state of emergency? Okay.
I feel like these are some of the, not the same, but like the vein of things that are said about this administration. I keep comparing it to previous administrations because a lot of the sentiments being echoed. I don't know, I feel like history is repeating itself. But anyway, continue.
Another text here. I fully support the government's stance on the extending of the state of emergency. We're in the middle of a third wave. It's proactive and responsible. I believe the government is committed to ensuring the health, safety, and economic stability of all Bahamians. The opposition leader is once again playing politics with the pandemic. It's sickening. Nonetheless, we are experiencing COVID fatigue. We're all tired of these orders, but unfortunately, we're all not tired enough to fully obey the orders or get vaccinated. We're a strange bunch. The government has done the best it can. Okay, that's interesting. On this one here, if they passed laws in Parliament to govern COVID instead of the emergency orders, then the people will still complain. This one says, Governor General is saying that he is satisfied that there is a state of emergency in the Bahamas because enough people aren't vaccinated as yet. How did they come to this conclusion? Plenty of Bahamians got their vaccination in the U.S., including me. All right, well, now that's an interesting point, and they've been asking people, I hope you did that. Did you do that, Texter? To come forward to say that you did and say what you got so they can add that to the numbers and say, well, we believe we have this many people fully vaccinated. So that's important for people who did that. I know of a lot of people who did the same. They need to come forward and say, don't just tell your friends. You got to tell the authorities that you did this so they can count this in the numbers of people who have protection. So I hope you do it. Okay. Another text here. There is a club on East Street, which is open all of last year, still open 7 days a week, crowd with people every evening, not wearing masks. How can this be?
I think I know exactly which one. Okay. You have to remember that some people are created equal, and some people are equaler.
Yes, it's always been the case.
Yes. I'm not saying it's right. It's definitely not. But you got to look into who owned the club and which state law enforcement agency they may be connected to.
Don. Okay, let's read this really quick before we go. I live in the South. There's a neighbor who plays very loud music from 6 p.m. until 10:30 p.m. I thought the COVID cars are supposed to be patrolling the neighborhoods. I haven't seen them in this area for months. I thought the curfew was at 10 p.m. Well, it's just loud music. Well, I don't know. Is there a law against that too? Let's take a break. We'll be back.
It's Tuesday, May 18th, 2021, and you're listening to the Guardian News Network Morning Report. Hello, everyone. I'm Charlene Ferguson. Thanks for tuning in. Topping the news. The country will remain under a state of emergency for the next 3 months, but the Prime Minister suggests it could be the last time Parliament pursues such an extension. Jasmine Brown explains.
Now, therefore, be it resolved that this House, A, approves the continuation of proclamation of emergency made on the 14th day of May 2020 until the 13th day of August 2021.
Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis read a resolution in the House of Assembly to extend the state of emergency for another 3 months. However, he expressed hope that the Bahamas will be in a position to abandon the state of emergency before then.
This resolution, Mr. Speaker, is our hope that we would not need the 3 months.
The current state of emergency was due to expire on May 23rd. However, on Friday, Governor General Sir Cornelius Smith issued a fourth proclamation declaring a state of emergency. This gives the competent authority, Dr. Minnis, up to another 6 months of emergency powers. The Bahamas has remained under a state of emergency for 14 months. In issuing the proclamation, the Governor General declared he is satisfied a state of emergency still exists in the Bahamas because of the COVID-19 pandemic. The declaration cited a comparatively low percentage of fully vaccinated persons in the Bahamas, despite the national vaccination program, as well as a third wave of infections across New Providence and Grand Bahama. There have been more than 11,100 confirmed cases of COVID-19 and more than 200 confirmed COVID-19 deaths. Minnis said he remains optimistic.
It is our hope that with the vaccination aggressively and progressively moving throughout the world and continue to the Bahamas, that, and with the cooperation with our populace and following the mitigation protocols of the pandemic, that we would see a turn. Once that commenced, we would love to remove all emergency powers orders so that individuals can return back to their normal life.
Reporting for Guardian News Network, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Well, the public is weighing in on the continued restrictions. Jared Higgs has that.
I don't think it's necessary. I really don't. I don't.
That's the view of a hotel worker with 26 years experience, but who hasn't worked since last March.
You know, we do not pray that they don't extend it more than 6 months.
The new proclamation was declared due to a sluggish COVID vaccine rollout and the threat of COVID-19 variants. The proclamation by the Governor General gives the Prime Minister another 6 months of emergency powers. Some tourism-based workers pointing out that the measures are a hindrance to the sector.
I'm not comfortable with it, but I don't like how it is, so.
Opposition leader Philip Davis says that the PLP supported the state of emergency at the start of the pandemic to give government a chance to fight the novel coronavirus. He says now, though more than a year later, they can't support this new extension.
And any move to extend the emergency powers has more to do with the state of Hubert Minnis's political health rather than the state of public health.
Davis accused the government of failing to build healthcare capacity during months of low cases. He argues that government could manage the pandemic through ordinary legislation and accused Minnis of not wanting to debate COVID measures.
The PLP supports enactments of measures supported by science. We cannot support the continued suspension of civil liberties by extending the state of emergency. They are just two different efforts.
Meanwhile, 22-year-old Tafari Thurston says the emergency powers are a hindrance to his social life. However, he says he's willing to sacrifice a little more.
Apparently there's been a spike in the numbers again. So I figured, we actually should be on curfew. But personally, I feel like it's causing a lot of anxiety and depression for the younger generation because we can't really go and party like we used to.
Reporting for the Guardian News Network, I'm Jared Higgs.
Well, all conch vendors have now been told to discontinue the preparation and sale of raw or fresh conch dishes immediately until a multi-agency investigation determines the cause of recent suspected conch poisonings. That from the Bahamas Agricultural Health and Food Safety Authority's Food Safety and Quality Unit, which in a press statement yesterday also warned consumers that until that investigation is complete, they will be purchasing and consuming raw conch at their own risk. Last week, that agency had been focused on educating conch vendors about the proper way to clean and prepare raw conch for safe consumption, but now all sale of raw conch has been placed on hold. The authority says it is working with the Department of Environmental Health and PMH's Microbiology Laboratory, among others, to determine the cause of the suspected poisonings, and that it will then make recommendations as to how to proceed with consuming raw conch. The agency wants anyone suffering symptoms of conch poisoning, even on the Family Islands, to help their investigation by providing the place and date of their purchase and any personal samples requested by medical personnel. Well, health officials have reported another COVID-related death, that of a 56-year-old man from New Providence who died May 15th. Total COVID deaths during this pandemic now number 221. The latest data also recorded 9 new COVID infections on the island of Andros. There were 41 recorded nationally Sunday, pushing total infections to 11,225. Well, between July 2020 and April 2021, government spent $2.4 million providing rental assistance to Bahamians during this pandemic. That from Acting Director of Social Services, Kim Sawyer.
Our rent assistance program, we have issued 2,118 persons, households have been approved for rental assistance.
Well, Social Services Minister Frankie Campbell says many Bahamians are still struggling to find work in the midst of this pandemic, with an even greater number of households relying on ongoing social services assistance through a prepaid Bank of the Bahamas card.
Currently, approximately 7,000 persons are receiving their assistance through that means.
Social services officials say the process of applying for and receiving government benefits is being streamlined with the debut of Promise, which is the Processing Management Information System, allowing residents to apply for assistance 24 hours per day through the online portal. The $250,000 system, an upgrade from an existing management system, allows new clients to be processed in 2 to 4 weeks, depending on the complexity of the case.
Promise integrates data from public and private sector institutions and provides 13 web-based services in one easily accessible online portal.
Promise launches June 1st on New Providence and 2 months later on Grand Bahama and the Family Islands. In other news, police have arrested a 61-year-old American man in connection to that job scam in Orlando. We're told he is now facing human trafficking charges. Police had warned that Bahamians and residents here were being lured to Florida with the promise of guaranteed jobs at a resort there, but that no such jobs existed as the resort was not affiliated with the person orchestrating the alleged scam. Police say that investigation continues. Stay with us, there's more news after the break.
Serenity Gated Community. Come and see what all the buzz is about surrounding our pre-construction home packages. Already, we have successfully made it possible for multiple families to realize their dream of home ownership. It's all about value building, folks. Home investment is by far the greatest investment one will ever make. So invest with confidence. Give Desiree Mingo a call at 376-0318 today.
Welcome home. Everything is changing, and your favorite hardware and home improvement store is getting with the program. We Buy You Sell is rolling out its new online shopping feature. If you go to our website, wbusbahamas.com, it's a quick and easy 3-step process. Step 1, browse the gallery and select your item. Step 2, add to cart. And step 3, check out. Go to our website, wbusbahamas.com, to shop with us today.
I bank wherever I want thanks to Scotia Online and Mobile. I bank from my garden. I bank from my living room. I also bank from my kitchen. No need to wait in line. Now when I bank with Scotia, I bank on my own time. Seniors, you too can bank your way any time of day without ever going into a branch. Find out more. To get started, visit bs.scotiabank.com/digital seniors.
Introducing the new Slices and Sticks from Little Caesars, an unexpected combination. 4 slices of pepperoni pizza, 8 Italian cheese sticks, and 1 crazy sauce, only for $9. Didn't expect that one, right? Grab the new Slices and Sticks at Little Caesars Oaksfield, Carmichael Road, or East Street South in the Pineapple Plaza. That's 4 slices of pepperoni pizza, 8 Italian cheese sticks, and 1 crazy sauce, all for only $9, and only at Little Caesars.
Pizza.
Jada, jump in the car. Hey girl, your new ride looking good. Y'all, it was rough. No one wanted to insure me as a new driver, and cause I young. Thank goodness Jason told me about Shield Insurance right there across from the police college on Thompson Boulevard. Shield hooked me up with one solid policy at a decent price, minus the shade. Them other companies was joking. Well, I glad you get straight. Call Shield Insurance in Nassau or Freeport. They've got you covered.
Shield Insurance agents and brokers.
At Master Technicians, we have what your family traditions need, starting with industry-best refrigerators, ranges, and ovens. We also carry Whirlpool washer and dryers, dishwashers and freezers, leading KitchenAid countertop appliances, blenders, microwaves, juicers, kettles, and KitchenAid stand mixers. We even do free delivery in New Providence or to the boat of your choice. Whether you're doing the laundry, creating new memories in the kitchen, or spending family time in front of the television, Master Technicians Limited, keeping family traditions alive for more than 50 years.
When I had got prostate cancer, my family didn't know if I was going to live. At Cancer Treatment Centers of America. Within days, I got an appointment. They presented me with treatment options, and we set up a robotic prostatectomy. When my scans came back, there are no signs of cancer. They don't see you as a number, they see you as a part of the family. I'm going on with my life. That's a real gift.
Call us at Cancer Treatment Centers of America.
Welcome back. Tributes continue to pour in for Sir Charles Carter, who's being hailed as a cultural giant and a veritable tour de force. Berthany McDermott takes a look at his life and his legacy.
Through the lens of party politics and the ears of those that listened to him over the airwaves, Sir Edward Charles Carter was hailed as a cultural icon, statesman, and mentor. But there was another side to him. According to his youngest son, Mark Carter, the veteran broadcaster was most importantly the best father.
He was everything to me. He was a father, inspiration. He was someone who not only guided me through my life, but guided pretty much everyone else who wanted to listen and needed advice and came to him. He was the type of person that would do that. I was very fortunate in having him as a father because I got to see him all the time.
Sir Charles got his start as a radio announcer at the Broadcasting Corporation back in 1964 and was appointed general manager of television in 1978. The veteran broadcaster later got into politics and was elected MP for the Holy Cross constituency in 1982, a seat he held for 10 years. He then opened radio station Island FM, which gave a voice to many Bahamian artists. His oldest son, Eddie Carter, said he admired his father's love for country.
He turned down jobs in other markets and foreign. I mean, we're talking NBC reached out to him, to the Today Show, and I reached out, wanted him. And he told them, no, I'm not even going to interview because if I get the job, I don't want it. I am not leaving my country. And I've been interviewing people over 20 years. I've never met anyone who loved this country. And more importantly, it's people more than my dad.
Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis hailed Sir Charles as a cultural giant who did his part to ensure that knowledge of Bahamian culture passed on to successive generations. Former Prime Minister Perry Christie said it is difficult to conceive of what the cultural development of the modern Bahamas would look like without Charles Carter. He was in this respect a veritable tour de force. Former Prime Minister Hubert Ingram said Charles Carter never permitted politics to interfere in his personal relationship. I remember well that when in the mid-1980s we went our separate ways politically, he remained a friend.
And as the country is still mourning the loss of Sir Carter, the Island FM family is still reeling from that blow. We spoke to one employee who recounted what it was like working with him. He described him as many things. Topping that list was a father.
In my collegiate years, I've never had a professor who could have given me the insights that he's given me, or even tips when I came to him off the record. It was just a magical moment working with him.
Sir Charles died in hospital on Saturday surrounded by family. His son shared the last conversation he had with him.
As he was going through what he's doing, I would always tell him secrets, and he couldn't tell anyone, right? And I told him a secret, and I was holding his hand, and he said, "That's wonderful." And and I kissed him on the forehead.
Reporting for the Guardian News Network, I'm Berthany McDermott.
That's going to do it for local news. Stay with us. AP News is next.
Your big day coming, what you want?
I know, but you ain't too far behind, eh? Anyhow, I want you to give me washing machine.
Washing machine? What you want washing machine for?
Well, since Junior working on the island now and 3 people got to use your car, I figure we could wash right here.
You got line, eh?
Not yet.
And if you wash here, What we can talk about?
That's true.
If you wash here, how we can catch capsaicin?
That's true, eh?
And if you ain't got no line, how we post to drying if you wash here?
That's true.
Okay, so what you want Junior get you again?
$1,600 worth of tokens. That's how much the washing machine costs.
Now you're talking, and I'll reserve the car for every Saturday.
Gone for that. So what you want for your big day?
Half of them token.
My Lord.
So we wash. We washes you, cleans you, presses you 24/7.
I been up by Pinder the other day and I meet him riding around on the payload. I say, Pinder! He smiled away. I say, man, Pinder, I really like what you're doing with the yard. You nod his head and keep moving stuff around. I say, with this new layout, this could be a true drive-through. Each time I was in the way with the hand, so I back on the side. I say, and with this setup, this could be a real one-stop shop. He stopped the payload and he get down. Pinder say, Lampkin, do this look like a Cadillac? I say, no. Or this quiet like a Cadillac? I say, no. Well, what make you think I hear a word you say? Anyhow, don't mind him. You would like the changes coming soon to Pinder.
Reggie gone to Sunrise one day and tell Miss Wallace, I need a band for my watch, please. Miss Wallace say, Reginald, do have a seat and we'll be with you in a minute. He say, well, hey, you just suffer from this too. She say, suffer from what? He say, this. She say, oh, that. Well, I tries to tailor make my services them to fit the needs of all of my customers. Reggie get excited. He say, that's amazing. I get a couple of more watches. I can bring them to you to more. She say, more. He say, yeah. She say, Reggie, I'll be here from 9 o'clock in the morning.
Sun Isles Watch and Clock, number 112 Montrose Avenue. Watch and clock sales and repairs for over 40 years.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Apex Award Signs and Engraving is excited about this summer's graduation. Celebrate your graduates with high-quality custom graduation signs available at great low prices. Need custom printing on apparel, promotional merchandise printing, or photo imaging services? No problem. You can get personalized diploma covers, plaques, plates, albums, clocks, pens, pencils, and so much more. Say congratulations to the class of 2021 with signs, hanging banners, and expressing appreciation on social media. Celebrate 2021 graduates with your own custom yard sign, banner, or poster from Apex Award Signs and Engraving, number 128 Mount Royal Avenue, or on Woolton Street, a block north of McCarthy's Pharmacy. Open weekdays 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturdays 9 to 1.
If you're a business owner, get ready because the digital transformation is here. As a business owner, you now face the choice between innovation and extinction, but you don't have to get left behind. Join the click with Cable Bahamas Business Solutions and transform your office to get the competitive advantage. With innovative solutions like our fixed and mobile services, hosted PBX, Bahamas Cloud, and more, you can redefine your business. For more information on how you can join the click, contact the experts at Business Solutions at cablebahamas.com.
This traffic report is brought to you by
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We're streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. Also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us 4224796. And now at 8:20, it's time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. Here's what's happening. We've got a weakening frontal boundary near the southeast Bahamas that's going to drift southeastwards through tonight, while a strong pressure gradient will support moderate to fresh breezes over the islands. Mariners in the central and southeast Bahamas should be alert for waterspouts, and beachgoers in the northwest and central Bahamas should exercise caution due to the risk of rip currents along north and east coast beaches. For today, for the northwest Bahamas, your forecast calls for variably cloudy, warm, and breezy conditions with a few isolated showers and possible thunderstorms through tonight. Small craft should exercise caution, but a small craft advisory will come into effect by this afternoon. For the central and southeast Bahamas, partly cloudy, warm, and breezy with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. Small craft caution in effect, and an advisory will come into effect by this afternoon in the central Bahamas. 79 degrees right now under mostly cloudy skies in Nassau. Look for highs getting up to around 88 Fahrenheit, 31 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 72 Fahrenheit, 22 Celsius. In your extended outlook, a strong high-pressure gradient will continue to generate moderate to strong breezes across the islands, while low to mid-level troughing will support unsettled weather over the central and southeastern islands. For tomorrow, Wednesday, look for variably cloudy and windy conditions with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms, mainly in the central and southeast Bahamas. Pretty much the same for Thursday, variably cloudy, very windy, scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms in the central and southeast Bahamas. That's your morning blend weather check, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. What's first for you comes first for us. And now at 8:22, time for another check of your traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank. Here is what's happening in your real-time traffic. We're seeing some hot spots, some heavy traffic in many areas this morning. We've got, as usual, Smile Butler Highway traffic well south of Fire Trail in the northbound lanes, heading towards Tawny Gordon Starling Highway. Keep that in mind this morning. Fire Trail's also backed up a bit eastbound heading towards Smile Butler Highway. Glasson Road not looking much better for you as the northbound lanes are full of traffic heading towards JFK. Northbound lane, heavy traffic northbound to JFK Drive this morning, and that's causing some backup on JFK Drive as well, especially westbound towards the roundabout there. Six-legged roundabout presenting some issues at this time as well, so keep that in mind. Elsewhere, we've got Blue Hill Road, just north of Soldier Road, typical northbound traffic, backlogs there, and Independence Drive, westbound, heavy traffic there at this hour. Soldier Road near Windsor Place, you're going to be seeing very heavy traffic as you head east there. And Carmichael eastbound towards Blue Hill Road, also building traffic there. In eastern New Providence, we've got Eastern Road, heavy traffic from about San Souci all the way up to Johnson Road this morning. And Bernard Road, also seeing that traffic near the schools in that area. And pockets along Prince Charles Drive, Robinson Road, at major intersections. Wolf Road as well this morning. Those are your hottest spots. That's your real-time traffic and your morning blend traffic alert, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank, banking reimagined.
You invest in your children, your home, and your community. But are you investing in your financial future? At CFAO, we specialize in investment management, retirement planning, mutual funds, and private wealth management. Our team of experts never stops helping you plan for tomorrow. Because tomorrow begins today. Call us at 502-7010 to see what our financial advisors can do for you. CFAO, growing wealth for future generations.
BTC is elevating the Bahamas with our super-fast fiber internet experience. More people in more places can enjoy the best home connection starting with 100 megabit speeds. With over $6.5 million invested, our network grows stronger each day, delivering the best home internet for all your needs. Call us at 242-225-5282. Visit btcbahamas.com or any retail store to upgrade to the super-fast fiber internet experience on the Bahamas' best fiber network.
RBC has been growing with the Bahamas for over 110 years with new ways to bank better. We are committed to deepening our relationship with existing clients and forging new ones in the future with new products and services and investment in the community, youth, and education initiatives. We are here to help you grow.
We're here to help you flourish. We're RBC.
RBC Royal Bank. Banking reimagined.
Roaming just got easier. Say hello to more with our new Liberty Prime plan. With more minutes, more texts, and more data to do the things you love right here at home and even when you travel. With the all-new Liberty Prime, Liberty Premium, and Liberty Elite, you've got one less worry. Roam again. Alive. Believe in best.
Believe in best.
Go cashless with CIBC First Caribbean. Are you just about to make a purchase, but suddenly remember you need to check your account or card balance first? No problem. Use online banking or the mobile app to check your account or your credit card balance. If you don't have enough funds on the account, you can transfer funds between your CIBC First Caribbean accounts or pay your credit card and have instant access to funds and then make your purchase. Visit CIBCFCIB.com for more information. Go cashless with CIBC First Caribbean.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
You're burning up my mind. What would it feel like if you tore me apart? Come on, chew on my heart. Come on, chew on my heart. I wanna be your touch. Sweet me so tough. You're burning up my mind. What would it feel like if you tore me apart? Come on, chew on my heart. Come on, chew on.
We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strawn along with Don Sargent. We're going to get back to our conversation in just a bit on COVID. I want to talk about a report that we didn't get a chance to talk about yesterday involving Shantytown residents in just a bit. But we do have some breaking news, and we're going to be delving into this a little bit deeper coming up in our 9 o'clock hour Morning Blend business. But breaking news, Atlantis President and Managing Director Audrey Oswald announcing today that 700 jobs at the resort will be made redundant. Just some quotes from the statement that was released this morning. Quote, unfortunately, we have to part ways with team members that we respect and value. She said that this decision was not a reflection of the work and efforts of these individuals. This was in a letter to staff. Again, 700 jobs at the resort will be made redundant. Boy, we're going to get into that, as we said, coming up in a few minutes. Some people were hoping for this to happen, but this is a big number, and that's going to have some implications definitely on the economy and on the country. And anyway, so we'll get into that in just a bit. So stay tuned for that. But that is breaking news: Atlantis making 700 employees redundant as this slowdown, this pandemic rages on, and really taking a hit on tourism and the hotel sector, definitely. So that's coming up, folks. Okay. As you said, let's read some more of these messages that we got in about what we've been talking about the state of emergency being extended, and how we should respond to this. If we keep saying that this can be done, we can get a handle on the situation through ordinary legislation. I want to hear from you. What type of legislation would you want? Would you be able to stomach? Would you be able to take that would not be a violation of our constitutional rights, as many people say? Well, it's not debatable. It is, but we are in an emergency. But what laws would be constitutional? Want to hear from you on that. Don, are you able to think of any? Been asking everybody to do this. Are you there, Don? Did we lose Don? No? Are you there?
I'm still here.
Okay, great. Yeah, have you been able to think of any?
You're asking if I thought of any laws that
we could
would not be violating the Constitution that will limit my liberties and freedom?
When you put it like that, Don. Well, I mean, what laws could we pass that would be like ordinary legislation that would be able to help control?
Well, here's some
COVID?
things, right? I don't know if these are exact things that we can do in our context, but probably. I think, what was it? Either yesterday or late last week, Ohio, the state of Ohio, the United States, the governor announced that they were doing a lottery. I think it was about 3 or 4 people could win $1 million for getting a vaccine. Instead of, like I said, punishing people for not getting it. Like in the workplace, you should be doing incentives to encourage it. You've had several workplaces have actually said that they'd give $150 or $200 extra on someone's pay stub if they went ahead and got the vaccine. Now, again, I don't know the financial situation of our businesses there, because you got to remember, in a lot of these states that are doing these things, they never went into full-blown lockdowns like we did. But I do not believe that trying to force someone's hand by putting the legal gun to the back of your head and saying, we will blow your brains out financially, or put you in jail in certain cases for not following these things. I don't know if that's necessarily always the answer, or being draconian and saying thou shalt not do these things. I think people want to be incentivized. I've never met a Bahamian in my life that has ever said, maybe in this circumstance, but has ever said, like, free things ain't bad. Or free things are bad, I don't want it. It's like, no, I think people would if there was more encouragement and there was more positive reinforcement rather than negative reinforcement.
Yeah.
In terms of legislation that I think would make sense, though, Dwight, like actual laws, I don't think it's necessarily possible outside of an emergency order. Unless the most I could think of is probably like a mask mandate. And even then, that's a bit wonky. But you can't necessarily enforce this curfew thing as easily. Unless, you know what? Technically, they can. They can technically declare it a disaster zone, right? Because the legislation they brought up after Hurricane Dorian. And do the same thing technically.
Who would sit back and allow that? Would you be?
I don't think anybody
fine
would.
with that?
But technically, they can.
What type of
possible.
disaster? What type of disaster?
It's an economic disaster.
Well, how about you get people back to work, and if they work at midnight, they work at midnight.
No, I agree with you.
So that one's not going to fly.
Ways that it can be done.
It can't be
without
done.
limiting the constitutional rights. There's legislation.
You could challenge
it isn't
that
meant for that
Right.
purpose. It isn't meant to deal with a pandemic. It's meant to deal with the aftermath of a hurricane or some natural disaster. I was just being facetious.
Yeah,
but
people will say yes. People will say, yeah, that's a good idea. But no, you need people can make money at midnight or 1 o'clock or 2 a.m.
What do you mean people would say yes? Like, people would
I'm
agree
sure.
with that?
Oh, come on, Don. You know that.
I was joking. I wasn't
they
being
would.
serious.
I'm sure
about
someone's
that.
saying, I don't see what the problem is. Anyway.
No, I
and
don't
you know
think
why
so,
they say
but I
those
don't
things?
think-
They say those
I
things
don't think
because
it's on the table.
they don't. There's so many people who are in their own little worlds, and I'm always at home by 8 o'clock. This curfew hasn't been a problem for me.
Oh yeah, I've heard
And-
that.
right.
nonsense of
So
people saying that.
they have no issue dismissing. Who cares about the curfew? Well, lots of people have lost great deals of their
money.
income because of this. Because they used to work overnight. They used to. This has been devastating to many people. So let's not just be so selfish here, right? But it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a challenge, and we all want the emergency orders to go, but we can't remove it so willy-nilly because we've got people dying every day from COVID. We've got new numbers every day, 25 to 50 people with COVID every day. And I hear some of you like, well, that's what has to happen. The people have to get sick first to get over it. Well, that's all well and good when it's not you.
Or your family members.
Or your family members. All right, let's take some calls and we'll get to the rest of your text messages before we move on. Good morning, call. You're on the air.
How you doing?
Doing well.
Good morning to everyone. My thoughts this morning and this whole matter and the extension and everything. I know internationally you have cruise ships begging to start and resume movements again. Our country is a touristic experience for the most part. Now, if and until we come up with a government which will change that, that's another matter. However, the Bahamian people rights that are being contravened, Bahamian people are being discriminated. And I'm saying to the competent authority, going into a major general election, if you want the free national movement to win, you're going to have to find a national pacifier for the Bahamian people because, like the last statement was made, the Bahamian people have lost not a great deal. I ain't too worried about the great deal, even though I worry about it, but we have lost our family lives. They ain't coming back. Now, what I'm not clear on, and should be on the record, at least for me, for my point of information, is the persons, young and old, especially those who have a home with life insurance connected to it, whether you're young and old. When you take this vaccine, and let's say you take the second one, and 6 months down the road, because we're getting reports, the insurance is saying if there are complications, when they sign these agreements, these life insurances with these people, there was no COVID-19. In fact, the contract, there's no place you will find COVID-19 in their contract.
I don't think
what happens to these people?
Like where this is going. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Let's read. Huh?
What was he saying that if you do have life insurance,
I don't know.
It could put something in. That's something to look into.
Well, talk to your insurance companies, but let's not. I don't
speculate.
I don't know what that. I mean, come on. And then, yeah. Okay, let's read some of these messages regarding the opposition POP leader's position on the emergency order. I'm confused. At the beginning of the pandemic, when there were, I think we read this already. You said this yesterday. When there were fewer coronavirus daily infections, he and the POP supported the state of emergency powers. But today, when the country is experiencing more, he opposes the emergency powers. This is a new one. But Deputy Prime Minister says Brave's opinion has been all over the place. Well, I guess he feels it's been dragging on too long. But you're right. That's a lot of people, though. In the beginning, we all understood. But here we are. The numbers are higher, but we're all tired. So that is a natural human reaction. It might not be the logical reaction, but we all have COVID fatigue. Definitely. But right, people have been saying it from May last year that we've got to learn to live with it. What does that mean, though? Another one here. How is it legal that the government? Right. Well.
Hogan did.
Boy. How is it legal that the government can legally limit my movements if I am not sick and fully vaccinated? Yes, exactly.
I feel the same way about that.
Right. Right.
Dexter's on to something.
And that's what... Now, which point are you trying to make, though, Dexter? Yes, and that's what the government is saying, and that's what they're doing, right? Because they know they can't, and if you're fully vaccinated, that's what they're telling you that you are going to be. You're going to have fewer restrictions on you. But at some point, it's going to become discriminatory in some way, but especially if the vaccine is not mandatory. But only people who are vaccinated can't do certain things. We're looking for problems.
I mean, we're already there, aren't we, with travel?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I think progressively things. I wouldn't be surprised if you see hotels the government change policy for hotels, and hotels just rapidly move in that direction to say, like, listen, if you're vaccinated, fully vaccinated, regardless of which vaccine you have, come one, come all.
The hotels may do that on their own. They may not even wait for the government to say that. This one here, I took my first shot on April 29th and had no side effects. I didn't even have an excuse to call in sick the next day. Very good. Non-dawn reaction. Okay.
That may be your case, right? You know?
Let's hope so. Why do we suggest monitoring vaccinations are critical? The vaccine is available. If you choose not to get vaccinated, go to a restaurant and contact the deadly virus. I believe that's on the individual not taking the vaccine. The vaccine doesn't stop spread, so there's no need to police vaccinated versus not. Well, again, the society steps in because you're going to need, when you get very ill, to come to public facilities to be treated. And, if we could have prevented that from happening, we want to do that.
Right. Also pay $10 if you got to go to the hospital and register.
This one says the Quarantine Act was enacted in Parliament, thus it can be amended in Parliament. It's an act and not the Constitution, so it can be amended so long as it doesn't conflict with the Constitution. I need you to read the Quarantine Act, right? Again, it is primarily on how to deal with people who are sick and what to require of them and what to do to prevent people from getting, right? Being in people who have been in contact with those who are sick. I don't know how that's going to work here with healthy people. You're telling healthy people to separate themselves and to not be in close contact. I'm not sure how that can work. Why are you doing this to me? Right? Why? I had recently spoken to a doctor about the difference between actually contracting COVID and taking a vaccine. The doctor explained that the net effect is the same in that in both cases, the immune system is able to produce antibodies. If this is the case, shouldn't this mean that people who have had COVID and have tested negative for COVID after overcoming it, shouldn't they have the same privileges as vaccinated people when traveling? Okay, so what are you going to do? You want to go and get COVID? What about it? What do you...
I mean, do they mean like travel to the Bahamas? Because we have absolutely no control over what any other country does. So, I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, if it was domestically, then I still don't agree. But sure. At least in the logic.
But you don't know how you will react to it, what it will do to you. You think you're healthy and fine, but you didn't know you had this condition. And, oh boy, right?
It's the new age vaccine, Dwight. You just go out there and get it.
Wait, which one? Because they're saying if you get COVID, you should be fine.
No, that's what I'm saying. Instead of getting the injection, you just go out there and catch it.
Just catch it.
And then if you survive, then chances are it's the same net effect.
Oh, okay.
Based on the logic.
And we also don't know how long the immunity lasts.
I also know people that have had COVID last year, in the middle of last year, that have gotten the vaccine already. On an abundance, because they had horrible reactions to it. But when they took the vaccine, they had very mild symptoms. So I don't know, man. I
Couple more messages here before we take a break. Somebody says, I bid you a great day. Okay. You talk about potential laws being passed in Parliament that will make the Bahamas be like a police state. Like this is a recent thing. The Bahamas, to me, from the 80s to the now, has always seemed to be a police state. Really? Oh, yeah? Okay. You're only feeling it more because of the uptick or increase in the seemingly like Gestapo tactics by the police and or law enforcement agents being carried out on display during the COVID-19 crisis. Coupled with the seemingly willy-nilly arbitrary laws and policies coming from the current PM and or his administration. All right, so should we just sit back and say, oh, well, that's how it is, or should we do something about it?
All right, I wouldn't say that this is like the Gestapo. No one's being politically, even though some people made that argument about the DNA. No one's being politically repressed or liquidated because of their political views. If that were the case, our opposition wouldn't be as vocal as they are. Let's not go down this road of saying that the Bahamas is some ultra-authoritarian police state. It's not true.
Oh, my. This one here, no one is testing me every 10 days. Nonsense. Take the vaccine. And why test this late in the game when we have a vaccine? Take the vaccine rather, and so we don't have to test. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why would we do that? Why would you make a law?
You know what, Dwight? You should set an appointment for Friday of next week, which is when I'm getting my second shot. And... get that first shot out of the way.
I tell you, I'm going to do it on Thursday. I want to come to the show, and whatever happens, happens. Right? If I,
not at all, my friend. Once you take the
Bahamian people will go through it with me, live. Like, oh my gosh, what happened to him? We're going to have the cameras on and everything.
Oh boy, you're going to come over, eyes red because you didn't sleep the night before. Barely breaking down.
It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. It's going to be wonderful.
I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah. Next week, folks. Okay. When compared to other Caribbean countries, we're doing well. That's a text, okay? The government is using the excuse of non-vaccination to control the populace until the bell is rung in hopes of other parties cannot get their platforms out there. They had some suggestions.
I'm curious. Do Bahamians actually vote based on platforms? I don't think most people can even tell you last election cycle what either party's, not all of their platform, but most of their platform even stated. We can tell you all the propaganda and scandals and everything that happened. We vote governments out. We don't vote governments in. It's the incumbent government's election to lose, not based on the platform of the next party. It's really just based on, if we hurting in any possible way, get out. We've been doing it for 20 years.
Yeah,
I think by now we've established you could have a trash campaign, because the FNM did not run a great campaign, and they still won because the incumbent government at the time had scandal after scandal, and they got blown out of the House Assembly, which you may see happen again. So I'm just saying, I don't think that's a valid conspiracy. There's a better conspiracy than that. Come on.
Yeah. Some more messages here. Honestly, I don't think it's possible. I know the UK has such legislation, but then again, their constitution is not codified like ours. I think if legislation is passed, it would create a slippery slope. The emergency order, I think, is the only way we can currently get through this. This one says, legislate restrictions through the Business Licensing Act. What does that mean? How? What way? What does that mean?
Sounds like a backdoor way of doing things, but okay. I'm interested in hearing how. Would it mean like? Actually, no. How would that work? You can't get if you get a business license, you have to submit to these things. Otherwise, your license is revoked.
Okay.
I'm interested in hearing how that would work.
Please put that question to Brave about the legislation that can curtail people's rights. Well, we are. Yeah, we're waiting to hear. We keep saying it. They keep saying it. Like what? Like what? And again, where's the Attorney General who promised that they were going to do something? That obviously they're having some challenges. Where is that legislation? They just looked up the Constitution. Like, oh, I guess not. Yeah. All right. This one here. Let me give God the glory and thanks for life. Okay. The love of money is ruining our nation. If we turn to God and stop focusing on how much money we could make, I know money is a necessity. We need money to survive. But my God will stop loving it and turn from our wicked ways. God will have mercy and heal the whole world. Real talk. Okay. Yes.
You know, Dwight, what we should do is, how much is that? $500 a month? To get that prayer set. You know what? Let me stop getting off.
Don't go there. Don't go there. I know what you're talking about, and don't do it. Okay, this one here. Right. Antibodies developed after catching COVID are not as strong as the vaccine antibodies. Okay, I don't know how you know that one, but okay, sure. And more research is needed into the side effects of the vax, in my opinion. Okay, yep, I'm sure. And yes. Okay, so let's take a break. When we come back, I've been meaning to get to this story for a couple days now, but we're going to finally get into it. And we won't have much time, but I need you to hear it. And we can have a little to say about it. But stay tuned. We're going to get to that after the break. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Together. I wanna be your touch. Sleep is so tough. You're burning up my mind. What would it feel like if you tore me apart? Come on to my heart. Come on to my heart.
Imagine. That's where every advancement begins. With an idea that things can be different. Better. Now. Imagine a world where your entertainment experience was all about you, your style, your show, at your budget. At Rev, that's what we've imagined. To join the conversation and learn more about the future of Rev TV, visit us at rev.bs/imagine.
There's only one way to have a better morning. How? Start your mornings the best way with our 2 for $6 breakfast sandwiches at Wendy's. For a limited time, choose any 2 of your favorite breakfast sandwiches, including the fresh Kraken Sack Muffin, Honey Buttermilk Chicken Biscuit, Double Sausage Muffin, or the Sausage Egg and Cheese Biscuit. Wash it all down with our cold brew shake or coffee. Better mornings always start at Wendy's. Wendy's, different inside and out. Excludes airport locations.
Wake up.
And we are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strong along with Don Sargent. All right, so we heard last week the Public Works Minister, Desmond Bannister, saying that they're going to do a demolition exercise in shanty towns in New Providence. We still have those, apparently. And so the news team went to a shanty town and spoke to some of the residents there. And this is what they had to say. Take a listen to this report from our Kyle Joaquin.
Because you can't just come and just break them like that. The people is people, right? Would you feel that's what I feel too?
Victor Mondiserli has Bahamian citizenship, has been living in the shanty town for 25 years, and pays rent of $200 a month for this one-bedroom facility. He has no kitchen, and his bathroom is a bucket.
Where do you get the electricity from?
No, I use batteries.
Oh, you're using batteries for your...
That's where you sleep?
Yeah.
Despite his living condition, he says he's comfortable, but left worried what he would do if government moves ahead with plans to destroy homes like his in areas known as shanty towns.
It's like it's impossible, but try. Because you can't quickly put me out just like that.
This community, through a corner off Golden Isles Road near the Carmichael Road Detention Center, is home to several families, many of whom built their house decades ago, like this Bahamian, who's been living here since 1993.
I don't have no place else to go. You know, after the court took my house from me and gave it to my wife, you know, so I had to find some place to sleep. I can continue sleeping in my car, you know, and I have built a nice home in this yard. And my home look better than most of them home in Baintown and Nassau Village.
I born here. I'm 21. Exactly. So I really staying in this lifestyle because of my parents. I mean, everybody share the same blood. I don't see the difference between Haitian, Bahamian, Jamaican, or whatever culture you is. Because at the end of the day, we have the same blood. When we die, we ain't going with nothing.
Demolition exercises have already begun in Abaco, with a similar one to begin in New Providence soon, according to Public Works Minister Desmond Bannister. However, some human rights activists have taken issue with this, as there is a matter in court.
Okay, you're going to demolish these homes, but what are the solutions you bring into these people who you're going to be making homeless? Your citizens, your residents, people who have work visa in this country.
Bannister also said there has to come a point where the country decides whether it's going to have a society like Haiti. Well, these activists say they want to know exactly what he meant by that.
He have to explain that to me. He would definitely have to explain that to me by what he meant the Bahamas becoming another Haiti. Because I visited Haiti, many people have visited Haiti, and the same thing we have here, where you have areas that are well-structured and those that are not Haiti, is the same thing.
And in another shanty town just off Cowpen Road, these residents say if they could afford a better place to stay, they would.
Plenty bill, job not too enough. You don't have enough. We don't have enough job. Sometimes you meet couple days, sometimes you sit down. When you get money, you clear bill. So that's all we stayed here for long like that.
We ran into Danell Medius, a Bahamian walking into the community to visit family. He said he doesn't understand the government's position on this one.
People been living here for a good amount of while of years. So I think like how the law of the Bahamas says crown land, I think before the government demolish this, I think the government should come together with the people and come up with a plan and try to find a way how they could up the standard of the way they live in.
Government has expressed concern over the living conditions in these communities and has pushed to rid the country of them altogether. Reporting for the Guardian News Network, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
Okay, that's a lot said in that report. Many people, where do we begin on this? I think that last gentleman in the report there said a very important thing, right? The government, but everybody needs to come together to find a way to improve the standard of living for these people. And that's been the crux of the issue here, the substandard way that people are living in these communities. And yeah, you may be comfortable there. This may be your home for 25 years or whatever, but you can't be living like that. This isn't right for you to be living like this. You've got no toilet. Your toilet is a bucket. You've no kitchen. You're paying rent, but we still don't know who these landlords are. Who are you paying this rent to? What do you get for that? Just barely a roof over your head, this is a problem. And we just can't sit back and say, well, we've got a housing crisis. So if this is what you're comfortable with and this is what you can afford, then go right ahead and everybody do this. We can't continue to do that.
You're right, Dwight, and it highlights an issue too. The gentleman who said he, essentially in a divorce settlement, the wife took the house and he was homeless. The reality is there is no social safety net in the Bahamas, at least when it comes to that. Or if there is, if it exists, it cannot. It doesn't have the capacity to basically deal with every single payment, especially after we saw after the hurricane, right? It was essentially, go shock up with somebody in your family. We can rebuild these homes in Abaco, and then crickets. Listen, the housing crisis is a big deal. It's always been a big deal, but at the same time, I don't think Shantytown should exist. And at the same time, I think the government we as a people should move in the direction of high density housing, cheap and affordable housing for people. And when I say affordable housing, not some developer, quote unquote, that sells like low cost housing to people for $250,000 or, however the situation is. Just throwing that out there. But no, it is a serious problem. But at the same time, I think the people that really need to be gone after are the landlords.
Yeah, absolutely. They have to answer to this, and the human rights activists need to be doing more to help improve the lives of these people as well, right? This can't be acceptable. Yeah, this is a good price, but no, this isn't right. This isn't right. What do you do in a situation like this? And these folks are not understanding it because they're comfortable, not understanding that this is about quality of life. This is a really tough situation. People bring up legacy, how long it's been. This is what they know. This is what they are accustomed to. This is really quite something. We have a few minutes. Let's hear from you. What do you make of this, folks? What are we going to do here? Bahamian citizens. This is the only country, the only home they know. This is how they are living in 2021. And it's been like this for decades. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us. 422-4796. Boy. All right. Let's go to the phone lines, and then we'll get to your messages. I see a couple coming in. But let's hear what you have to say about this, folks. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight.
Hi, good morning. Hi.
I do think it's an unfortunate situation, but these individuals need to realize that it's all about what's best for them in the long run. It's also, we got to abide by the rule of law. I think what we need is a comprehensive housing policy across the country, one in which ensure that there are affordable homes that are available for individuals that are willing to pay. These individuals, I agree with Don. We need to go after these individuals that are leasing the properties to individuals to build shantytowns, especially if these properties is being leased to these individuals as well. In the Cowpen area, to my knowledge, most of that property is farmland, which is leased to farmers. So it should not be used for building of homes. It should be used for farming. I think we need to rein that in as soon as possible. Right? And some of the excuses that I see being used by these individuals, I don't think it's warranted. I really don't think it's warranted at all. That's my view on that.
Okay. All right. Let's take another call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hello.
Hi.
How you doing, my friend?
Doing well.
This is a very interesting topic. This should have been dealt with many years ago. And we keep kicking the can, and this can't continue. Like you said, okay, let's use the United States of America for an example. Let's use Canada for an example. These people cannot do this in Canada, and they cannot do this in the U.S. And these human rights, like you said, why aren't they telling these people you cannot live like this? People come here to work. They get jobs. Why can't they go to rent an apartment and be whole landlords responsible for living conditions? Basically, every modern country does this. You should have a court set up for people who rent to go to and say, guess what? Why are we having these people live in these conditions? Landlords should be able to maintain their property because the people paying rent.
Yep, totally agree with you. You heard one of the folks saying,
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. The money is inconsistent, I guess, is what he was saying. But that's still, I don't know. And how can the landlord have the conscience? I mean, what type of person is this? Right? Like, you're fine, I don't care, because of their background, maybe. That's fine, that's how they like it. No, come on, man. Let's take this call. Caller, good morning, you're on.
Morning, Dwight. Morning,
Don.
Morning, Don. Listen, very interesting conversation. I know you only got a couple of points I picked up out of this whole conversation. You know, and you said something so poignant, Dwight, that I think it flew over a lot of persons' heads. We have these human rights advocates who seem to be endorsing that the government should relax its approach on ridding this country of shanty towns for our lifestyle. Here's the question I need to ask, though. You know, saying that every time we have an issue in this country, they keep running to the United Nations to protect the standard of living that they apparently have here. Where is the United Nations help in requiring that the people here who are living in shanty towns proper requisites of getting proper permits? Well, firstly, we need to find out who owns this land. Secondly, we build proper homes. Is the United Nations arm giving us the help, giving the government the help to build proper homes for these people to live in? We have two kinds of standards here in this country. We're trying to bring everybody together to follow one particular set of laws. You can't have a multiplicity of laws. One set govern us as organic Bahamians. The other set benefit the others who are not, and I hate to put it like this, but for understanding those who are not perhaps of us or of our lineage, per se, and have them operate on a different thing. We have two nations operating in one nation. We've got to have one common goal, everybody, one set of laws that govern everything in this country, or else we continue to have chaos and
yeah.
Where we are right now. Thanks, Dwight.
Thank you very much. All right, we only have about a minute. Let me read some of these messages very quickly. There is no place in the Bahamas for shanty towns. The ancillary issues can be debated, but the foregoing premise is undebatable. Okay. This one says, Desmond Bannister didn't have to bring up Haiti into this. I have no words for him. Well, okay. And this one just came in. We have created this by allowing people to come in on work permits where they are being paid menial wages, cheaper labor, because the labor laws are not stringent enough. This forces people into shantytown living conditions. This one here, similar to what I was saying earlier, are human rights groups only concerned about the destruction of homes? Are they not concerned about the conditions humans are living under? I don't hear them advocating for improved living standards. Maybe I missed that. Well, maybe we all did. I don't think we've heard much of that at all. This one says, the guy says in the report that we share the same blood. Well, tell them to go to Russia or China or Haiti or Jamaica and start building. These are the kind of laws they should be passing in Parliament. Better housing laws, not talking foolishness. The scary part, most landlords and landladies are pastors, politicians, police officers, and lawyers. This is why the laws can't change. Yikes. Okay, I don't know about that one, but hey, that's scary. Don, that's a lot.
It is.
Got to stop kicking this can down the road. We have to finally get serious on this. We've got to tackle this. It's multifaceted. It's clearly, we know there's a housing issue. We know that we've got some landladies, landlords who are unscrupulous is the only word I can think of.
What's the best way to deal with this, Dwight? Very quick time. Local government. Nassau needs a city council to deal with these sorts of issues because centralized government seems to be paralyzed to do anything about it. This has been a raging issue since the 1970s and 80s. My grandmother used to talk to me about these situations, and it is 2021. It is 40-something years later, and the same issues are still raging on.
Yeah.
So, like I say, there needs to be not just verbiage and mouth smacking when you're in opposition or when you're in the government saying you can do this, you can do that, then you get voted out. or you can do this in your next term. It needs to be a comprehensive plan. It needs to be bipartisan. Because the only thing that seems to be bipartisan is the exact same way we handled this immigration and Shantytown problem. It happened under the Christie administration, the Ingram administration, the former Christie administration, and the former Ingram administration. It happens under every government. Whenever things are going bad, crack down on immigration. So instead of always kicking this can down the road, deal with the damn thing.
All right. That is it for us. Don, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. We're going to have more on this, of course. We've got to talk about this so much more soon. Coming up, though, we're going to have more on what is happening with Atlantis. 700 people made redundant. We're going to be talking about that in Morning Blend Business just after this break. For news, stay with us.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
This is the Guardian News Network update on the hour. Hello, everyone. I'm Charlene Ferguson. The Atlantis Resort will be reducing the size of its workforce, releasing 700 of its 7,300 employees. The resort's president, Audrey Oswald, pointed to significant business losses during the pandemic for the decision. In a letter to employees, she explained that executives did not know exactly when travel will return to normal business levels, and while the company expects to fully recover, she said it will still need to reduce the size of its workforce to support a more focused business strategy. She indicated the redundancies will affect many teams across their organization and that those released will be notified today. Hundreds of workers there have been furloughed for months now since business declined due to the pandemic. Some have even demanded to be made redundant to secure the severance payments owed to them. In other news, all conch vendors are being advised to immediately stop preparing or selling raw conch dishes until further notice, while consumers are being cautioned that they will be eating and purchasing that raw delicacy at their own risk. That guidance came from the Bahamas Agricultural Health and Food Safety Authority's Food Safety and Quality Unit, which said it was investigating the source of several recent suspected conch poisoning incidents. It said once the cause is determined, it will then make recommendations as to how to proceed with consuming raw conch. And a 61-year-old American man is now facing human trafficking charges in connection to what police say is a job scam in Orlando. The force had warned Sunday that Bahamians and residents here were being lured to Florida with the promise of guaranteed jobs at a resort there, but that no such jobs existed. That's what's making headlines at this hour. Stay with us. AP Update is next.
Boy, why you look so mashed up like clothes at the washer?
No, boy, just a hard day. What?
Hard day? What happened? The breakfast lady ran out of tuna and gritty.
We need to start joking about everything, you know. This serious, boy. This real serious, boy.
Boy, what's serious? Tell me.
All right, well, today, boss gave us, boy, one big contract. And nobody else get a chance and nobody say nothing.
Boy, you know that ain't right. You know government contracts ain't supposed to go that way.
Yeah, but nobody's saying nothing. Boss man just tell people to sign the papers. Then he send me to meet his boy downtown and collect this envelope.
You need to tell somebody. You need to become a whistleblower.
You know I's a real man, but I never blow no whistle. I be drunk all my life and junk, you know.
No way. A whistleblower is someone who tells people what they see when they see something wrong happening at work.
But I ain't no whistleblower, and I ain't no snitch. I still white there, you know.
But ain't nobody can know it's you. All you gotta do is call Crime Stoppers, or you could text them from inside the Crack Crime Bahamas app. They don't ask about you, and your call goes straight through to Miami, so nobody know you is. And if you text, your message get mixed up like conch salad.
Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands.
Hello, sir. Your credit card bill is due. Hello, sir. It's time for your monthly loan payment. Tired of creditors pounding at your door? Sign up for a debt consolidation loan from Fidelity Bank and consolidate your debt into one low monthly payment. What's more, you will also earn interest on a built-in savings account. The pandemic has curbed many freedoms, but at Fidelity, our focus is to help regain your financial freedom. Visit a branch or speak to Fidelity Bank at 356-7764. COVID safety measures in place at all branches. Fidelity, we're good for you.
This traffic report is brought to you by Shield Insurance and Prudential Loss Adjusters.
Follow Traffic Watch this morning, and several significant changes are taking place up there. We've got heavy traffic flows continuing on Gladstone Road and some Malabama exits as well. Heaviest congestion of the traffic that we can see on the island exists along those thoroughfares, and seeing their challenges every morning on getting out onto the main thoroughfare. We sympathize with those drivers stuck on those lines. Carmichael Road has kept it reasonable so far. Still a lot of traffic heading out of there onto Blue Hill Road, but it's moving, not stagnant or having any lengthy delays or wait time over there. Getting over the hill at Blue Hill, of course, still happening, and by now, that Tunnels Million Dollar roundabout below is also busy with the Independence Drive traffic that's also coming in there as well. Independence Drive East lanes also affecting the East Street roundabout, and the northbound traffic along East Street there is experiencing some wait time and minor congestions as well. The morning school crowd still moving about on Soldier Road, causing a bit of congestion, especially in the area of Old Trail Road. And the Eastern Road traffic is still streaming into the Shirley Street and Blair area. Be on the alert for police random road checks across the island. Make sure you are roadworthy to be out there. And don't drive using your cell phone. It's an offense with penalties as high as $500. This National Traffic Report is service of Dr. Danny Johnson Associates at Foot and Ankle International, who offers the simplest and safest treatment for foot injuries, ingrown toenails, corns, heel pain, and more. Visit Foot and Ankle International for relief. They're located Deans Lane atop the hill at Fort Charlotte. You can call them at 302-5402. That's 302-5402 for more info. With your ride, it's got a look at traffic in real time. I'm V.A. Tubberland.
I'm Rita Foley with an AP News Minute. Israel and Hamas have been battling throughout the day. 2 workers inside a packaging plant in Israel were killed in a strike launched from Gaza this morning. Israel's airstrikes toppled a 6-story building that housed bookstores and educational centers used by the Islamic University, among other colleges. Angry Palestinians across Israel called a strike this morning. Our Joseph Krause reports from Jerusalem.
They're protesting not only the war in Gaza, but also the recent behavior of Israeli police inside Israel and in East Jerusalem, where there were clashes at the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound. This is a rare sort of awakening of national unity among Palestinians, protesting a wide array of Israeli policies, not just Israel's actions in Gaza.
Target and CVS now say vaccinated shoppers don't have to wear masks in stores. New York's governor says if you're fully vaccinated, you won't have to wear the mask or keep your distance starting tomorrow. I'm Rita Foley.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Tuesday, May 18th, 2021. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strawn. We have some breaking news we're going to be getting into, as we mentioned earlier on Morning Blend, that Atlantis announcing that 700 employees will be made redundant. And we're going to get into that this morning. NASA Guardian senior business reporter Chester Robards will be here as we dissect the letter that was sent to Atlantis team members this morning and what that all means in light of what's been happening over the past few weeks here in the country and with the economy. So that's coming up. But first, it's time for your morning business report brought to you by CFAL. In your morning business report, Atlantis to lay off 700 employees. President and Managing Director Audrey Oswald making this announcement in a letter to staff members today In that letter, she says, quote, "We are collectively living through the worst pandemic of our lifetime, and as it began to unfold, global travel came to a standstill. Our business suffered significant losses, and in response, we drastically cut costs that touched nearly every corner of Atlantis. While we expect Atlantis to recover fully and business volumes continue to increase since reopening, the significant changes we will undergo are not temporary or short-lived. Because of this, we need to make fundamental shifts by reducing the size of our workforce around a more focused business strategy. Unfortunately, we have to part ways with team members that we respect and value. Out of 7,300 Atlantis team members, 700 of our colleagues will not be returning." Oswald saying in that letter that the decision does not reflect the work and efforts of the individuals, and that many teams across the organization will be reduced in size. She says today, team members who are parting from Atlantis will receive a call from senior leaders of their departments and an email from Human Resources, and that it was important that they inform colleagues in a personal one-on-one level. Stay tuned to the Guardian News Network for more on this throughout the day here on Guardian Radio. The Bahamas' proximity advantage to source markets, cruise lines, home porting initiatives, and the possibility for growth of the domestic tourism market all bode well for an accelerated recovery of the tourism sector. That's according to an IDB quarterly bulletin. The report recommended the further expansion of innovative and novel tourism products that are likely to freshen the country's product offering and increase its competitive edge. The report stating that home porting could significantly increase spending by cruise travelers, as many would spend at least a night in a hotel before embarking and upon disembarking. The report also saying this could boost spending on hospitality, food services, and other items per cruise ship passenger, and it could also increase the overall flow of cruise ship passengers. And that has been good news on this front, as Royal Caribbean announced it would start home porting in June and Crystal Cruises in July. An analysis of U.S. traveler trends by a leading online travel agency places the Bahamas in the top 10 international destinations, showing a more than 200% increase in bookings during the month of April. The analysis compared bookings placed in January with those placed in April, which showed a 337% increase in airline ticket bookings to Greece, 259% increase for Israel, 203% for the Bahamas, 143% for Jamaica, and 134% for the Dominican Republic. It's a kind of resurgence needed to help the country's economy and the global hospitality industry rebound after COVID-19 ground travel to a near standstill for the majority of 2020. The co-chief executive officer and chief financial officer of Fairportal, Glenn Cusano, which conducted the study, says that more than 58% of Americans already vaccinated, and air travel numbers are moving upward and are expected to rise as the summer months approach. You can read more about it in today's Guardian Business section. And the first liquefied natural gas ship, LNG ship, to operate in North America, Carnival Cruise Line's Mardi Gras, will be flying the Bahamian flag when it arrives at its home port of Port Canaveral early next month. Carnival Cruise Line revealing in a statement yesterday that the ship is registered with the Bahamas Maritime Authority and made good business sense for the cruise line, as CCL President Christine Duffy thanked the Panama Maritime Authority for its support during the ship's construction and registration. She says the Bahamas will be a frequent destination for the Mardi Gras and that it will bring a new level of environmental sustainability to many ports in the Bahamas and the Caribbean. Overseas, further evidence emerging today to show that the British economy is recovering strongly, with the number of people on payroll increasing as coronavirus lockdown measures are eased. The Office for National Statistics found that the number of payroll workers rose by 97,000 between March and April, a period when some lockdown restrictions were eased. At the end of March, pubs and restaurants were allowed to reopen in an outdoor setting. The reopening meant that many workers who had been idle over the previous months of lockdown could return to their jobs, even though activity levels weren't as high as they would have been if indoor serving was allowed. Though the most recent figures show an improvement, the UK has clearly seen jobs lost during the pandemic, with 772,000 fewer people on the payroll than before it struck in spring 2020. In your market watch, recapping trading on the BISX from Monday, your market movers, Bank of the Bahamas moving 1,000 shares, closing unchanged at 144. Colina Holdings moving 1,202, up 3 cents to 594. Vanguard moving 1,000, up 150 to 1550. Consolidated Water unchanged at 233. Emira Incorporated up 2 cents, closing at 1165. The BISX All Share Index closing at 1,948.92, up 0.38. That's your market watch, and that is your morning business report. Brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations. You're listening to Morning Blend Business. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 422-4796. Stay with us. We'll be back after these messages.
You invest in your children, your home, and your community. But are you investing in your financial future? At CFAL, we specialize in investment management, retirement planning, mutual funds, and private wealth management. Our team of experts never stops helping you plan for tomorrow. Because tomorrow begins today. Call us at 502-7010 to see what our financial advisors can do for you. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
Wait, you know what's going down tomorrow?
Nobody, what happening?
Joe bringing these knives to school. He could do Junior in.
For what?
Wait, he fooled with Joe girl.
Mother sick. And you know Junior don't back down for nothing. So that means you got a big fight tomorrow.
So whose side you want?
Side? I trying to stay in school, not Simpson Pen. We gotta tell somebody about this fight.
Tell somebody? I ain't no snitch. I mean cool, you know.
Wait, if you so cool, then you need to stay in school and stay out of the fight.
Yeah, but if I don't hang on Joe's side, how many boys coming for me next?
Alright, so we definitely gotta tell somebody. We gotta prevent the fight.
What I say, I don't want nobody call me snitch.
We could just call Crime Stoppers. You could report what you know, and nobody gotta know it's you.
So how did I avoid?
All you gotta do is call them, or you text them through the Croc Crime Bahamas app, and nobody can know it's you.
Then the police come looking for me for more info, and when they finish with them, Joe them coming looking for me?
When you call Crime Stoppers, the call go directly to Miami, and they don't ask nothing about you. Then you can get the pen from them, and you can claim a reward later using that same pen. Plus, everything's scrambled, so nobody can read what you saying.
Call 328-8477 from Nassau, or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
I'm on fire. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up.
We are back here with Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strawn. Joining me now, we've got our senior business reporter and Morning Blend co-host, Chester Robards, with us as we discuss this breaking news from Atlantis. Good morning, Chester Robards. Great to have you with us.
Good morning. Good to be here.
Yeah, so, boy, this surprising but not surprising, right? Surprising in that we're hoping, there's so much optimism in the way that officials are talking about things looking up with the numbers of people coming or showing interest in coming and the number of people getting vaccinated here and in our source markets for tourism. But surprising that at this point, that this would be what we're hearing from Atlantis at this time. Did we have any indication that this was going to be happening before we read the full statement, the full letter that went out this morning? But were there any signs?
We can't assume that the statistics that we're seeing translate directly to Atlantis, right?
Right.
So, that's one thing. The other thing is, the IDB study that you highlighted in the paper today talks about, the tourism growth in the region not being V-shaped. So we're not going to go from, record numbers in 2019 to nothing in 2020 back to record numbers in 2021. That's not going to happen. And it does posit a 2.5 year to 4 year time period before we're actually back around 2019 numbers. So it's not surprising, but I'm sure we were hoping for something different.
Right. All right, so let me read this, and then we can talk more about it. This is from President and Managing Director Audrey Oswald, sent today to all Atlantis team members. Right. So this is the statement, or this is the letter they got. I promised from the beginning of this global pandemic that I would be transparent and forthcoming in sharing information with all of you. Each time we talked, I shared the good news and bad news, but today I must share some sad news. When previously asked about redundancies, I've said that it was too soon to make that decision. Today, I must confirm that we are reducing the size of our Atlantis workforce. For Atlantis, whose sole purpose is centered around people serving people, this is incredibly difficult to confront. I will share how we arrived at this decision and what we will do for those impacted. Let me start with how we arrived at this decision. We are collectively living through the worst pandemic of our lifetime, and as it began to unfold, global travel came to a standstill. Our business suffered significant losses, and in response, we drastically cut costs that touched nearly every corner of Atlantis. While these actions were necessary, it became clear that we had to go further when faced with two hard truths. One, we don't know exactly when travel will return to normal business levels. And two, when travel does return, it'll be very different for everyone. While we expect Atlantis to recover fully and business volumes continue to increase since reopening, the significant changes we will undergo are not temporary or short-lived. Because of this, we need to make fundamental shifts by reducing the size of our workforce around a more focused business strategy. Unfortunately, we have to part ways with team members that we respect and value. Out of 7,300 Atlantis team members, 700 of our colleagues will not be returning. This decision is not a reflection of the work and efforts of these individuals. Many teams across the organization will be reduced in size. Today, team members who are parting from Atlantis will receive a call from the senior leader of their department and an email from Human Resources. It is important to us that we inform our colleagues in a personal, one-to-one conversation. Every detail to help provide a smooth transition for parting colleagues has been thoughtfully planned and considered. What I have learned this past year is that a crisis brings clarity about what is truly important. Though we have been through a whirlwind, some things are more apparent to me than ever before. I am thankful for everyone in Atlantis and have a deep respect for all of you. Throughout this unprecedented experience, I have been inspired by all of you. Even in the worst of circumstances, I have seen the very best of us. The world needs human connection now more than ever. I know that Atlantis will rise to the occasion. I believe this because I believe in you. To our active team members, one of the most important ways we can honor those who are leaving is to let them know their contributions mattered and that they will always be part of our Atlantis family. I am confident that their work will live on, just as our mission will live on too. To our colleagues leaving Atlantis, the community will never stop seeking the qualities and talents you brought to Atlantis. I want to thank you for sharing them with us, for caring, and for contributing to the success of Atlantis. Be well, Audrey Oswald. Okay. Very sad indeed. 700. That's a big number. That's a big number there. So let's
talking about like 9% of their workforce.
My goodness. Wow. All right. So now for some people.
Also, Dwight, let's not forget, in the grand scheme of things, there were a number of people who wanted to be officially made redundant from Atlantis.
Was just about to mention that. There were some people who were looking forward to this, wanted this desperately last year at this time, even as early as May, they were calling for this. So for some, I don't know, maybe I'm not...
And people may think also when they think about people being let go from a job, that these people are on the job. Many of these people probably haven't been brought back to work as yet.
Right.
So,
but it seems
I don't see mass people walking off.
Based on this, though, it seems like that wasn't an option. Like those who wanted to be furloughed, come forward, and we will. Right. We just had to look across the board and across all the divisions and decide how we're going to best do this. So there might be people who aren't made redundant who wanted to be. Is that likely?
Yeah, that is very likely. But of course, we wouldn't know, right? And the other telltale sign about their operations would be like where most of these people are being cut from, which we don't know yet as well.
Mm-hmm.
So there's still some more to find out.
Yes, absolutely. It's going to be a difficult day for a lot of people. Now, you mentioned the IDB report. This is a report that you wrote that we're reading from. And you made some great points earlier about the fact that we don't know how long this is going to be. And that's the same thing Atlantis is saying, that while the numbers are increasing, the turnaround that is desperately needed may take some time. And what do you do if you're a big company like Atlantis waiting for that return to normalcy? What do you do with all these employees? And that's a difficult place to be in. You can imagine.
Yeah.
But it is so encouraging when you hear from the IDB. But the question is, and we've been talking about this for weeks now, and I don't know if I'm confident with the answer that I'm getting as we get back to Atlantis in a bit. But with the report about the opportunities that home porting could present, and using this as an opportunity to increase our competitive edge, are we seeing this? Do we know that this? Is there any evidence that this is happening?
Well, what is it going to take to increase that competitive edge, right? The IDB report talks about, and this has been a growing trend, I think, for a number of years, but it talks about doing more things in the blue economy. You know, we got these color-coded parts of the economy now, right? Culture-focused tourism, nature-focused tourism. And how many new businesses? And again, we're not talking about the government here. We're talking about entrepreneurs creating experiences for people and getting those experiences out to the world, advertising those experiences, marketing those experiences to the world, so that people are interested in coming and seeing what's new. You know, the biggest complaint we hear, even from the cruise sector, coming from cruise lines, as well as their guests and travelers, is that a lot of people take cruises very often, and they often come to the same port of call over and over again. So they come to Nassau, maybe 2-3 times a year, and they've done everything, or they haven't found anything that they want to do over and over again. And so the call is for Bahamians in general to create these new experiences for cruise ship passengers, especially those ones who have been here multiple times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that, again, goes back to what's happening here. Are we not on the same page with home porting, with people likely going to need a hotel to stay in? This seems like this would have been a great opportunity for a place like an Atlantis and any other resort here. Why is that not translating? What are they seeing that we don't see?
That depends on what these people's costs already are, right? They have to travel. A lot of people, even though Carnival claims that they have most of their guests drive to the port of call where they board the ship, it probably is almost the same for Royal Caribbean. So now they're asking these guests to buy tickets to another destination, already a cost, and maybe if depending on the type of flights they can get, they have to come a day early and leave a day late. Those costs keep adding up. So they've already paid for this cruise. Atlantis might not be one of those places where they can afford now.
Right.
They have to stay somewhere else, more affordable.
Well, all right. So we're discussing all of this today. So much to unpack with this, and I'm sure the employees, the staff members of Atlantis, on pins and needles, waiting to get that call, to get that email from HR about this, but what do we take away from this? What do you make of this? Let's hear from you on this as well, folks. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us at morningblend969 or facebook.com/morningblend969. Text us 422-4796. Let's get to some of your messages. Someone says that we need to get the data on the age, years of service, department, and positions, how many senior management, mid-level managers, and line staff, how many expats versus locals. But this is indeed a sad day. Yeah, that will be interesting to know. Hopefully they will be transparent about that as well. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight, and your co-host.
Good morning.
Yeah, how you all doing? What I'm saying, Dwight, I hope to warn the employees who was breaking down the place and had Lincoln Bean and Agent France and then breaking down the place, and the police had to block them off at the bridge. I hope those employees got their wish, and I hope they shouldn't go on the other foot now, and they're trying to say that the ladders let them go, because that's what they was crying for from last year. Hello.
Well, we will see. We will see.
Another thing, Dwight, I know I was trying to get in, but you and your coach was discussing this 36,000 vaccine. They said you can't get through to them. If Darrell Miller was still there, I know he'll unfix that. I need you all. I assume that you worked at the Guardian. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah. What I want you to do is to investigate that 36,000, because from the last part of April, they were saying 36,000 has got the vaccine. And then Ed Fields came on. Remember when they opened up new sites at the St. Anselm Church, Foxhill, and before that they only had the Church of God of Property Street, and they had the Lola Hall, Gladstone Road. But now they opened up more sites. And he was saying when they opened up those sites, Ed Fields said that would account for at least 2,000, 2,500, and up to 3,000 or more per day. Now, that 36,000 got to be a false count, man.
Well, as of Friday, according to PAHO, it's 39,957. So almost
39,000
almost
for the
40,000. Yeah.
39,000. Yeah, because I know that 36,000 can't work, and that was Friday now. So that's, I think the only day they don't vaccine is Sunday, right?
I think so. Right.
Yeah. But I think I don't know how PAHO gonna do for the Bahamas. The health people in the Bahamas should be given that count. PAHO is the Caribbean, right?
We're part of that, and that's through COVAX, which that's all.
Yeah,
related.
but I really need to check that out again for me. With the health people, man, they're investigating.
Do you think it should be a higher number? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it should be a higher number than that, man.
Okay.
Because according to what Ed Field said, it should those other sites like St. Anselm and a couple others in name, and that will result in more people up to 2,000, 2,500 to 3,000 per day. And if you are from Monday to Saturday, I assume it'll be 2 weeks' time or more than 2 weeks' time. It should be more than that.
Well, that's if those people went in. They say they can accommodate that. That doesn't mean that 2,000 people went there.
Friday will make me 6 weeks, so I guess Friday after next.
Okay.
Next Friday I'll be 7 weeks, so I could think of getting my second shot.
Excellent. Wonderful. Yeah. Good for you.
Yeah. But I hadn't done yet for the morning. But then if he had it out with on Chihuahua, he was saying it should be less than 36,000, and he was saying, he always get a wrong result on these things. He's saying that it was just they don't even have more than 36,000 vaccines in the country. I tell him you stating a falsehood, man, because the last 33,000 I think reached last Monday or Tuesday. That brings the count to 87,600 or 800 vaccine in the country. So he keep on texting back to Wagolang. So Wagolang said, man, you got to go investigate. The man have his right too. With me and me, I have my rights. And so and Anton got to stop believing that only him one has the right answer.
Okay, all right. Yeah, but you're right. 87,000, a little over 87,000. That's what we have so far. Okay, but let's stay on track here. So we are talking about Atlantis and announcing that they're going to be laying off 700 and making 700 people redundant at this time. at this time. All right. So, all of this happening made some great points again, Chester. That won't necessarily mean that you'll be staying at Atlantis if you are coming on a cruise. So they might not necessarily get that business there, and with the money they spend on a cruise, they might not have enough for Atlantis as well. So, this is a difficult place to be in, and we know that.
And we're not unique,
right,
in the world right now with this kind of thing,
And I do notice often that Atlantis leads the way. That what Atlantis does, others will follow. I don't know if that's just what I'm seeing or if that is what you notice as well. And are we worried that this could be the start of something like this throughout the hotel sector in the country?
Well, it's interesting. Because we have Bahama opening their new Baja Bay in about a month and a half, right?
Right.
And that's supposed to employ a whole bunch of people. I think somewhere around 700. So, I think we'll see that happen. They're going to see how that works out for them in the near future. So, there's some wave action here, where one's going, one's coming, and, that's expected. But the reality in the world right now is a lot of countries are faced with trying to figure out, what to do in terms of tourism. A lot of people depend on it, and they're still up in the air about whether to open, who to allow in, and those kinds of things. And if you look at what the Bahamas is doing, we're doing pretty good, given the circumstances.
Right. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, more on this, looking at it from some other angles, as we try to process Atlantis announcing that it's making 700 employees redundant over the next few days. This is Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio. Stay with us. We'll be back in just a bit.
You invest in your children, your home, and your community. But are you investing in your financial future? At CFAO, we specialize in investment management, retirement planning, mutual funds, and private wealth management. Our team of experts never stops helping you plan for tomorrow. Because tomorrow begins today. Call us at 502-7010 to see what our financial advisors can do for you. CFAO, growing wealth for future generations.
Wait, you know what's going down tomorrow?
Nobody, what happening?
Joe bringing these knives to school. He could do Junior in.
For what?
Wait, he fooled with Joe girl.
Mother sick. And Junior don't back down for nothing. So that means he got a big fight tomorrow.
So whose side you want?
Side? I trying to stay in school, not Simpson Pen. We gotta tell somebody about this fight.
Tell somebody? I ain't no snitch. I mean cool,
Wait, if you so cool, then you need to stay in school and stay out of the fight.
Yeah, but if I don't hang on Joe's side, him and these boys coming for me next.
All right, so we definitely gotta tell somebody. We gotta prevent the fight.
What I say, I don't want nobody call me snitch.
We could just call Crime Stoppers. You could report what you know, and nobody gotta know it's you.
So how do I work?
All you gotta do is call them, or you text them through the Crack Crime Bahamas app, and nobody can know it's you.
Then the police come looking for me for more info, and when they finish with them, Joe them coming looking for me?
When you call Crime Stoppers, the calls go directly to Miami, and they don't ask nothing about you. Then you can get the pen from them, and you can claim a reward later using that same pen.
Plus, everything's scrambled, so nobody can read what you're saying.
Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands.
Signs that you should go to therapy. You've thought about it, you wonder if it could help, you want to go, you wanted to see if this list would apply to you. Mental health is health too.
This Mental Health Awareness Month message brought to you by Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM.
Time for another check of your weather for today. Final look this morning. We've got a weakening frontal boundary near the southeast Bahamas that will drift southeastwards through tonight, while a strong pressure gradient will support moderate to fresh breezes over the islands. Mariners in the central and southeast Bahamas should be cautious as the threat remains for waterspout activity. Beachgoers in the northwest and central islands should exercise caution due to the risk of rip currents along north and east coast beaches. For today, for the northwest Bahamas, look for variably cloudy, warm, and breezy conditions with a few isolated showers, possible thunderstorms as well through tonight. For the central and southeast Bahamas, partly cloudy, warm, and breezy with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. Small craft should exercise caution, and an advisory will come into effect for the northwest Bahamas by this afternoon. A small craft advisory will also come into effect for the central Bahamas by this afternoon. High temperatures expected near 88 Fahrenheit, 31 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 72 Fahrenheit, 22 Celsius. In your extended outlook, high pressure will continue to generate moderate to strong breezes, while low to mid-level troughing will support unsettled weather over the central and southeastern islands. So for Wednesday and Thursday, we're looking at variably cloudy to cloudy and very windy conditions, with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms mainly in the central and southeast Bahamas. That's your morning blend weather check. And we are back with Morning Blend Business on this Tuesday morning. Dwight Strawn, we're talking with Guardian senior business reporter Chester Robards, our colleague here on Morning Blend, but talking about this news from Atlantis that they're going to have to make 700 employees redundant, as they are not sure how much longer this will all go on, how and when normal travel patterns will return to normal, and what it will look like even when it does. And so that's been challenging for the resorts. We're talking about that this morning. We want to hear your views on all of this. This is not good news. 700 people, that's a lot. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Again, Atlantis says the decision does not reflect the work and efforts of these individuals who are going to be made redundant, but many teams across the organization will be reduced in size. All right. So this is all happening while Chester wrote about it in today's Guardian Business about an IDB report highlighting factors supporting tourism growth. And the report noting the potential for backward linkages with the rest of the economy, including agriculture. So again, Chester, it's difficult to hear this while all of this is happening behind the scenes. And what does that mean? And will this influence subsequent reports on how things are looking going forward?
Well, it likely will. And again, we have to continue to watch the economy. You know, we've heard from the Minister of Tourism that summer is looking pretty good for some hotels. You know, again, on balance, Sandals Royal Bahamian is going to be reopening come November. They've already talked about good forward bookings for that resort, and they're going to be bringing on about 900 people when they reopen.
Right.
So, you know, things are going to start opening up again. There are going to be opportunities for people in tourism sector, in hospitality, to get jobs in the coming months. Again, like we said, they're already hiring. I'm sure Bahamas is already hiring for their new Baja Bay. That's opening July. So it's the ebb and flow in the economy right now, especially in the hospitality industry, given what we've come out of in 2020.
Are there
and
any...
we're not out of it, and we're not even out of it.
Oh, definitely not. Any indications as to whether the opportunities are going to be more on the, how do you put this, on the individual business side, as in you as a personal entrepreneur, or is it going to be still big hotels here in the Bahamas at least?
Yeah, we're not going to get away from the big hotel thing anytime soon. And I guess this is the fault of some of us reporters, but I don't think we know how many new businesses in the tourism sector are being created. And this is something we should go to the SPDC for that information. In the blue and orange economy, how many companies are being built around the things that the IDB is saying the Bahamas should focus on, which is nature tourism and cultural tourism. We know that there's a company who's trying to refurbish the water tower and the forts and create experiences around those things.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, that's been around for a while. Yeah. And they say they're ready to roll, but again, it's just a waiting game for some people to see where our tourism numbers are going to go. And at this point, I don't think you can wait anymore. You gotta pull the trigger on the things,
Absolutely.
And say that if you build it, they will come.
There's thousands of Bahamians who've never been in the water tower who need to see it.
Correct.
And so, the opportunity's there. And if they spread the word, then who knows? All right. So the report, the IDB report, noted that the Bahamas offers a scope for diversifying its tourism offerings, including ecotourism, as you mentioned, health and wellness tourism, remote work, retirement services, and education services. Not hearing a lot about many of those at all.
No.
And you write that the IDB's tourism-led specialist, or lead specialist, I guess it is, Olga Gomez, said in a statement that the Caribbean can no longer depend on the lure of splendid beaches.
Yep.
I think it's been like that for a little while, but maybe it needs to be said repeatedly. She writes, quote, over the longer term, Caribbean countries must spur innovation and reinvigorate their tourism offerings. Tourism destinations need to invest in improving their competitiveness, aligning their tourism products to the broader local and global economic trends, and exploring new and traditional emerging market segments, such as global nomadism or nature-based tourism. Okay, and we've got a lot of opportunities for one to be a nomad in the Bahamas with all these islands. But again, what are we doing about it? Everybody except for those directly in the industry seem to recognize this, it seems.
The only nature we recognize right now is pigs.
Oh my goodness! Well, well, why are we moving so slowly?
And one fish.
Oh dear.
Yeah, we do. A part of the problem, I think, is that a lot of tourists come to New Providence, and nobody's eked out a nature kind of tour or experience for New Providence. Even though they exist, I'm sure somewhere you can find it. But nobody's really developed it. Again, people are putting pigs on beaches in New Providence to go visit.
No way.
That's
You've seen that? I mean, and you're actual.
I've heard of it.
Actual pigs, or are we talking about some? But I mean, really, I mean, what is? I mean that. Yeah. But we have all those other islands. Why would we need to do that?
Because you sell a pig on the beach experience anywhere there's a beach and a pig. That's the sad truth right now, and we're gonna do that to death at some point. So. I think it's just up to the private sector to begin to really let the wheels turn on some new, innovative types of experience, because we see that Royal Caribbean said they're going to increase the amount of passengers they bring to the Bahamas by 2030 by about 2 million people, I think. That's no drop in the bucket.
Right.
There's to be honest, there's a lot of money to be made from people who come on cruise lines. Of course, we want the big money stopover visitors, but we can't forget that the people on cruise ships still need something to do, and they're going to be coming.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, let's read some of these messages that are coming in. Somebody says, it's interesting that Atlantis hosted the media this past weekend and laid off 700 employees today. I don't understand why. How is that interesting? What's the connection? Okay. And I'm sure. Another one here. I thought on the emergency orders, they were not allowed to make anyone redundant. Okay, I don't have an answer for that one now. If you don't have, that's interesting. That's very interesting. Is that okay? We will look into. Is that what it says? I know that was. That's an interesting point.
I know there was something that was mentioned last year.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's still in place.
I mean, people were thinking that would. I know what you're saying, Texter.
I think
you raise an interesting point. You raise an interesting point. We will get. Hopefully, we'll hear from the Ministry of Labor, Department of Labor, and from many others today. This is breaking news just in the last couple of hours.
Yeah,
so a lot's going to be said about what can happen and what can't. I mean, I do believe this is not a surprise to the government. I'm sure they were notified about this. But we will know more in the next few hours. Breaking developments here. Okay, caller, we'll get to you in a second. Let me just read this text here. Okay, really. A Caribbean economist said that after COVID, tourism will be more cutthroat in the Caribbean. Everybody in this region has such sand and sea. Oh, I think you're trying to say sun, sand, and sea. The Bahamas has to create unique experiences for visitors and locals to enjoy. But we've been saying that for at least a decade, if not much more. Right? That couldn't be all that you offered. It couldn't be all at all.
You made a good point when you mentioned that there are tons of Bahamians who haven't been in the water tower, and it was something that the IDB report did mention, that domestic tourism was going to increase over this year as well. And that's something that, a lot of the family islands probably have to push for.
Absolutely.
I know people who are still saying they're not, if they want to go on a decent vacation, then they're going to leave the country because, COVID's still out there.
Right.
And a lot of Bahamians still want to visit, family islands. Who's going to make it attractive for them to do that?
Yep. And affordable in many ways. But also thousands of Bahamians, thousands of Nasuvians have never been to a family island before, which is unbelievable, right? So there's so many opportunities. Let's take this call. Good morning, call. You're on the air.
Early day to this Dark Universe along with you in Chester, Dwight.
Hi.
Dwight, I'm from time I always believed that government shouldn't be putting their egg in one basket. You see what I'm saying? The thing is, we have a lot of islands, and a good leader would establish a situation whereby its people would learn to work in different areas instead of be depending on tourists all the time. See, we met that here from the UVP time. The thing is, you're supposed to go different. I mean, if you want to build on it, sure, but don't put all your egg in one basket. See, there's a lot of people in this country, and that tourist was developing slackness. Hardly anybody wants to work. You see what I'm saying? Now, you got to look in a different area, right? Don't put all your egg in one basket. Not only tourism, find other areas whereby people would find something to do and would love to do the different stuff in which would be established. Thank you.
Okay, I hear you. I mean, you don't need the leader to tell you this or to do that, right? Just do it. Do it. Do what you love. Do the thing that you want to do. And make it work. Make you money. But waiting for the leader is what has gotten us in this situation, right? Don't wait.
Don't wait for the government, and try not to wait on funding.
Well, now that was
commercial
tricky.
Banks.
That one's tricky, but you got to find an innovative way to raise the funding, and good luck with that. Let's read a few of these messages before we go. Someone says, the problem, that's from what we were talking about in the previous hour. Atlantis' loss is the Bahamian people's and the Bahamas B&B's gain. People, particularly younger travelers, are changing their habits. A lot of them don't want to stay in hotels. These times are perfect for the local B&B businesses. We just need to market these accommodations. Well, I don't know if 700 of those, right? I don't know if 700 of those are going to have that or have something that will help them to benefit from that. But hopefully that will be the case. Someone says, I see pigs on Goodman's Bay every time I go to the beach.
Goodness.
I'm sure they are talking about pigs. I'm sure they are. Do you know what is the biggest threat to innovation in this country? Intellectual property theft. Submit your business plan for review anywhere and watch someone who understands the potential claim your idea as theirs. Implement it to a dull glimmer of your vision while simultaneously using their power connections to block your efforts. That is the biggest threat to innovation. And these are respected men in suits doing the stealing. Oh, boy. Well,
I don't know if some of the things that they're talking about are considered intellectual property. Like, if you start a fishing business and you're fishing for some type of fish that no one's ever fished before, and somebody's like, they're fishing for that, let me go do that too. It's not quite the same thing.
But you do get what they're saying. You do get where they're coming from.
Of course. Yeah.
And that does hurt. But hey, you got to keep...
if you're a good entrepreneur, you've been through it.
Yeah.
And if you survive through it, then that means you had a superior product.
And that means, right, exactly. You need to step up with your marketing and your advertising efforts and getting the word out there and outdo those people who teeth your idea. That's what you've got to do. But you can't wait, and you cannot wait for the leader to fix it or whatever. Again, you've got to do this. And we hope these people with Atlantis, I hope that you will be thinking like that as well. You see this as an opportunity. An opportunity. I know it hurts. It will hurt, definitely, but an opportunity to achieve some greatness there. And we are all rooting for you. We're rooting for all of you. And good luck. Good luck on this, after this little blip up there on your journey. But, but this is...
Invest that money wisely.
Yes, absolutely. So, Chester, I'm sure you have a busy day ahead of you. There's so many stories that will come out of this, and I'm sure we're going to be hearing a lot more about this over the next few days. But again, this is breaking news. Atlantis says they're going to lay off, they're going to make redundant 700 of their staff members, 700 out of their 7,300 Atlantis team members. Okay, Chester Robards, always a pleasure. Thank you so much. You'll be back tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Yes, appreciate it. And I'll be back tomorrow morning as well with more Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business right here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strawn, have a great day. On the Clock with Aaron Green coming up next.